like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion, like how a single breath can make the lung open. I might only have one breath, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say, chemicals inside my body, I will scream them loud tonight. Can you hear my voice? This time this is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm always song. My emotions turn on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fire left in me.
Hi everyone! Welcome to another edition of Chud Watch. How are you all doing? I hope you're having a wonderful start to your week here on this Monday. Let's see what we missed here in the chat while I tortured some of you with Danzy. Blackwing Hecate says, I was just thinking that I'd hoped I'd get Hannah today. Daddy Sume says, bad news everyone, need a new furnace, may need to cut back on bits and subs. That's a shame. I hope you're able to get that fixed as soon as possible. Blackwing Hecate says, I already read that. Weird, the chat's like duplicating. It's like my chat box is glitched out. Strange. Blackwing Hecate says no, that's the same one. Weird. It's like the chat just keeps repeating the first couple for me. Weird. Okay, let me scroll down. Seems like it fixes itself at some point. Daddy Sume says, my sinus headache cannot handle Danzy. Sorry about that. Blackwing Hecate says that's Stana abuse. Blackwing Hecate says, also apparently I'm some manner of conductor. Blackwing Hecate with a link says me as a conductor.
Imagination!
I'm late, you're late. Fuck you. I'm my own boss. There's no such thing as late. I could start a stream at 5 in the morning and it wouldn't be late, nor would it be early. I arrive exactly when I plan, okay? Suck my tit. So let's see what we got going on today. Elliot Hulse gives the worst advice I have ever heard in regard to a trans person. He basically tells a person to harass their trans coworker. Nick says, Danzy me, mommy. Oh, God. When are Jake and I planning to do the next Bible Reloaded video? We recorded a Chick Chat today, and we're doing a movie review later in the week. Daddy Sume with a link says, couple second clip.
Her name, fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck me. Yeah. I've seen the movie. Anyway, this is the guy that said women don't exist. We watched a video the other day. He thinks Invincible is feminist propaganda. So we're gonna find out why. Vegan teacher is making the Travis Scott situation all about herself and veganism. Surprise. Peter's here. We got some right-wing watch and cope. Good stuff. Blackwing Hecate with 30 bits says, do not meddle in the affairs of Hannah, for she is subtle and quick to anger and is neither late nor early, but arrives precisely when she's supposed to. When's the next season of Charisma Save's gonna be? Not on Twitter, so don't know. Soon, I don't think we have a direct date yet, but we're getting all the final stuff in place. Jake had a table made. I think they already stained the table, Jake and Alex and them. He just sent us all Q&A paperwork about our characters that I filled out. So probably in the next month and a half, 2 months. I'm not sure. I'll let you guys know on stream. And of course on Twitter. I know you said you're not on Twitter, but it'll be on Twitter. There's an official Charisma Saves Twitter account now. I think it's just at Charisma Saves. Other than that, I'll announce it here. It'll be on the Discord, I'm sure. Meek says, you know what is feminist propaganda? Wonder Woman. Wow, feminist propaganda has a lot of pro-bondage messaging. Joey is strong. Thanks for gifting a sub. I think we're all caught up. So I don't know, what are we going to start with today? Do we want to start with a video, like a long one, or do we want to start with some of the shorter stuff? What do you guys think? P.S. I mentioned this on the other stream the other day. I got the Oculus Quest 2. It's a lot of fun so far. And I was playing a boxing game earlier, so I was sweaty, which is why part of the reason my hair is the way it is. Daddy Sume says, hot bondage, mommy, Dom, Diana. True. Do I want to see food turned into poop? No. I don't want to see food turned into poop. I eat food, and I dislike poop. Yeah, criticize me for buying a Facebook product while you're on Twitch, which is owned by fucking Jeff Bezos, alright? We're all living in the same hell, okay? While I'm in this capitalistic hellscape, I might as well get to swing a lightsaber in virtual reality. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. It's just some consumption is less ethical than others, and buying a Facebook product is... I made the decision I made. And now you all will watch me when later in the week, I'm going to try and hook it up to my computer so we can play some VR together. And maybe if anyone wants to... Does anyone else do what is it called? VR chat? Does anyone else have VR chat? I feel like I have a lot of furries in my audience, and I think furries like VR chat. Some of you probably have VR chat. Pseudosapien, thanks for hosting. VR chat is dope. Haven't really played with it. Anyway, let's get started. We'll start with some of this just right-wing cope, right-wing watch type stuff. Greg Locke, I guess, is mad that people are saying "Let's go Brandon" in his... Let's go Brandon shirt. He's upset that people in his congregation are saying "Let's go Brandon" or something, which for those who don't know is like a right-wing meme that just means "fuck Joe Biden," which is fine, fuck Joe Biden, but they think it's really funny. And I guess he's mad about it for some reason. Blackwing Hecate says, I need to give more bits to secure my lead, so here. Oh, thank you.
I have people mail me "Let's go Brandon" shirts. Listen, don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk. I'm cool with it. I'll wear it. I'm going to do a "Let's go Brandon" rally. I get it. But that nonsense should have never been chanted under this tent a few weeks ago.
What?
It doesn't matter who started it. Doesn't matter who did it. It was an embarrassment to the body. Oh, listen.
You literally just preach about how you think he's a pedophile and a Satanist. What?
I'm all for the sentiment of "Let's go Brandon." Absolutely.
This is so weird to me, too. Like, when I wanted to say fuck Trump, I just said fuck Trump. Why is the right afraid of the word fuck? Baha Link something says this is relevant. New York anti-vaxxers, oh yeah, I did hear about this. New York City anti-vaxxers are booking fake appointments for COVID vaccines. And the name on this one is Let's Go Brandon.
I could care less what that demonic possessed pedophile thinks about me in this church. Not
like you just called him you just said he's a demon possessed pedophile. But it's not okay to say fuck him? What? Daddy Sume says, because they like to pretend that they're the party of moral superiority in Christianity, I guess. Do they think God doesn't know they're saying fuck when they say "Let's go Brandon"? Wouldn't that be the same thing? First of all, there's no sin against swearing. Nowhere in the Bible does it say you can't say the word fuck. The Bible does not say you can't swear. Anywhere, I assure you, it does not say you cannot swear. That's a weird Christian thing that people just made up. You're not going to hell for saying fuck. I mean, you're not going to hell anyway because it doesn't exist, but like... the Bible does not say you can't say the word fuck. It's so weird.
Brandon. I know what it stands for. I'm cool.
But to children, fuck the children. I don't care.
I can handle it. I can wear a shirt, doesn't bother me. I can go preach in these rallies. In this tent, leave it alone. Let's go, Jesus! Let's go, Jesus! Let's go, Jesus! That's what I...
If we're following the logic of "Let's go Brandon," though, aren't you saying, fuck you, Jesus? Does he not understand that he's... Okay, whatever. Alright. Yeah, sure. Fuck Jesus. Cool. A pastor just said fuck Jesus in church accidentally because he's dumb, so that's good.
I'm talking about in this house! Yes, let's go, Jesus!
Blackwing Hecate says, disclaimer, that's pedophilia. Do not, in fact, intercourse the children. Agreed? Speak the Truth says, don't fuck the children. Ah ha ha, ha ha. Someone said fuck children, and therefore, let's take it literally and make it a joke about pedophilia. That's an original joke no one's made before. Daddy Sume says, fuck the kids, Hannah says, and the link is my response.
From you. Hey, phrasing! Don't!
I know what it means, and I'm cool with what it means. I'm cool with what it means. I want him out, too.
Oh, yes.
Oh no. So this anti-vax conspiracy theorist, QAnon person, is apparently also a rapper. So that's what we need in our lives.
It's time to rise and grind. Oh, yes. Before the rooster crows. Oh, yes. It's time to rise and grind. Oh, yes. I wake up at 3 to get it all done. Got money on my mind and my wife's number one. Countercultural cause I am a Christian. In it for the long game or nothing. Get rich quick, nah, I don't do it. But if you got a real goal, I'll help you pursue it. Like Robbie Schneider, I'll be saying you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Have to seize the day at Carpe Diem, son. If you ever want to make them Benjamins. Success requires self-discipline. 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 I just said it 3 times in a row. Cause if you're looking for a real hero, you gotta look in the mirror, my bro. Will you be a victim or a victor? I think we're missing it all. How bizarre. The resources you need aren't very far. You gotta get 3 jobs like I once did. Target Applebee's and DirecTV, which meant I never watched TV. Cause I was on my grind like a 2-3, or like that 12 to the TB. Do you feel me? Like a petting zoo. Stick to your goals like glue. Like 80 hours per week pursue. And I am so to the serious, because I ain't smoking delirious. I'm aware of cause and effect, and I know that your life could be wrecked, or your life could be good and great. So what will you do today? Will you fill the schedule with nothingness, or the middle with somethingness? While you're waiting for Santa and an elf, this just in, you could be helping yourself. Say no to the handouts, cause they hurt your pride. When you could be out working the other guy. What? When you could be out working the other guy. Who? When you could be out working the other guy. Yes. Oh yes. It's time to rise and grind. Oh yes. Before the rooster crows. Oh yes. It's time to rise and grind. Oh yes. Everybody singing now. Oh yes. Oh yes. It's time to rise and grind. Oh yes. Before the rooster crows. Oh yes. It's time to rise and grind. Oh yes. Verse 2 is short and life is 2. We better get started cause there's no redo. 38, ain't it great? I'm half dead, dude. I'm half dead, dude. Well, hell's bells. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Oh god, that was terrible. I thought Bryson was bad. Holy shit. Mike Mack says, how dare you bring politics into this tent? Now let me talk about why Trump is as a god's president. Nick says, conservatives don't like fucking unless it's to repopulate the right white race. Tucker White says, as a leftist and a sports writer who covers NASCAR for a living, I hate that this permeates everything I do now. Oof. Blackwing Hecate says, why aren't we doing phrasing anymore? Blackwing Hecate says, this is an insult to the admittedly groove-causing beat backing track. Tucker White with a link.
Stop it, please, I beg you!
Not that it's a high bar, but he's better than Bryson. See, I disagree. Stone Corbell says this has to be a parody. Please tell me it's a parody. It's not. Mike Max, the link. Oh god, Lauren. Oh no. Oh god, what is this gonna be? Oh, it's her. Is it listening? Is her listening to, Bryson's shit?
Somebody gotta do it.
I don't think I can listen to this because Bryson's been banned from Twitch. And if it's his music, I don't know. That's iffy. I'm not gonna do it just in case. Mitchell Drummer with 100 bits says, hey Hannah, can we go over a tweet thread that I'm 99% sure is just transphobic harassment against me? I'm getting dogpiled by Destiny fans and I really want someone in the trans community to have my side. Oh boy, I hate this kind of shit. Let me see. Oh, it's just someone being shitty. Yikes. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, go check that out. And, more of the replies than him specifically. Yeah, that's super fucking shitty. Go check out the link and help out, Mitchell Drummer, because this is dumb as shit. I'm so sick of people just being like, haha, pronouns in bio. I fucking hate that garbage. Ah. What else we got?
Every signer of the Declaration of Independence were descendants of the tribes of Israel.
No, they weren't! Isaac Inanimate, thanks for 6 months, says I aborted our stream baby for Satan. Great. That's good. The child support payments have been getting kind of ridiculous. Daddy Sume with 30 bits says choo choo. Blackwing Hecate says choo choo. I think it's gotta be 100 bits or more to count towards starting the hype train. I'm not positive though.
We can trace it, we know it, and here's the thing you've got to understand about Israel. Most people think of Israel when you say the word Israel.
There
they
it is.
Think of Jews. I was a doctor of theology.
Daddy Sume with 100 bits says, choo choo, motherfucker. Thank you for kicking off the hype train.
I was the youngest ordained evangelist in America at 14 years old.
You can go online and get a doctorate in divinity. You just pay for it, by the way, from Diploma Mills. So if anyone says they have, like, a doctorate in divinity or whatever, you could go get one in, like, 20 minutes. So... Alpaca Scent says, have you seen the Chart of Truth iceberg? It's like a skyscraper of tinfoil. I think I probably have. Blackwing Hecate says, Daddy stole my medallion. And Nick says, and now you look like a Sopranos character. 73% to level 1.
Wow. I've lived for the Lord my whole life. And I was dumb as a box of rocks and didn't know it. At 40 years old. Because I thought that a Jew meant Israel and an Israel meant Jew. Until I started studying my Bible... And I found out that the first mention of the word Jew in the Bible is them fighting against Israel.
Wow.
When you come to...
Is this him trying to figure out how to both be anti-Semitic, but also pay lip service to Judaism because of the Bible? God damn. Bumble Homestead says, listening audio only, taking kiddo to their ballet class. They're 11, just first shot this morning, only side effect sore arm. Mike Max says, by this logic, isn't everyone descendant from Adam and Eve, making everyone an incest baby and no one is special? Yeah. Bitter Grin with 100 bits. Thank you. Hydrate and a hats off. There's the hydrate. Let's do a hats off. We'll go with, I don't know. We'll do the horns again. They're the least obtrusive.
Understand that Israel is not Jews and Jews is not Israel.
87% to level 1.
What happens? All of a sudden, and I'll do it real fast, at one time, they were one nation. King Solomon died, King Jeroboam, King Rehoboam, there was a split.
Yep.
The Jews, the tribe of Judah, stayed in Jerusalem. They kept the Sabbath. That's why they're still identifiable. They kept the Sabbath. That kept them.
I cannot overstate enough how none of this fucking matters. If you were a person who lives in 2021, this is all woo-woo bullshit. Who the fuck cares? What are you talking about? Blackwing Hecate says, blood libel says hi.
Them identifiable for these thousands of years.
You need to get me more headbands? True.
However, there was 10 tribes that went to the north with King Rehoboam in rebellion. Those tribes crossed over the Caucasian mountains. They were captivated by the Germans. They crossed over the Caucasian... Oh, we out of time. Oh, anyway. So they crossed over, I'll make it real quick, where they wound up at was the Great British Isles, because the prophecy was that they would go to the Isles of the Sea.
So this is all a way for this guy to say white Anglo-Saxon people are really God's chosen people and not, as the Old Testament claims, Jewish people. Lovely. Speak the Truth 16, thanks for gifting 2 subs to the community.
And from there, we find those tribes making their way to the United States of America.
Holy fucking shit, that was bad.
Sometimes I tell myself maybe I shoulda. I know you've been in that position, and if you coulda, you woulda. It's an old saying, I ain't saying anything. I'm just saying, y'all read into me and say, oh, Stewie, he's just playing. Is that right? Cause I'm your typical
Oh, God. Tucker White says, wait, so all the founders were descendants of Israel? Man, it's convenient when rebellions are divided along such clean, rigid lines, especially when almost all of them were shat out by English fucks.
Chasing a fast life, not remembering anything that happened just last night. And all I want to do is fuck bitches and just get trashed, right? The difference between us is I did that all in a past life, and I ain't gonna write about it.
This guy is a right-wing broadcaster now, but he tried to be a rapper some years ago. Oh! The guy who talked about the like founding fathers being Jewish conspiracy has a rap sheet. Let's take a look. Mike Max with 30 bits says, I would love to see him debate black Israelites. 3.5 minutes left on the hype train. 49% to level 2. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a South Louisiana preacher was slapped with a $100,000 fine on top of a slew of criminal charges. John Vaughn, who also acted as an insurance agent, recently had his license yanked after allegedly stealing thousands of dollars. Police describe Vaughn as a chameleon, changing his look and name repeatedly. The 37-year-old is accused of stealing a 2-year-old's identity to defraud a life insurance company. He's accused of swiping $20,000 from an annuity he sold to a person that didn't even exist. It took months for Insurance Commissioner Jim Donlan's office to pin Vaughn down and issue him cease and desist orders. Donlan said Vaughn has 2 licenses under separate aliases. We have to shut down his operation, Donlan said. It does anger you when folk take advantage of a profession and trust that comes with it. He stated there are 100,000 insurance license holders in the state of Louisiana, and about once a week someone gets theirs revoked. Donlan explained the victims are often unsuspecting customers who find themselves uninsured in a time of great need. Vaughn is also charged with bank fraud, issuing worthless checks, and felony theft. Currently, he's being held in the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison on $25,000 bond. He was booked on similar charges in other parts of the state, including Livingston and Jefferson parishes. Wow, so he's just a straight grifter? It's always nice when you can know for sure. It's always hard to tell if they're crazy or a grifter. So good to know. Just a straight-up grifter. Nick with 30 bits says, you what? Raven with 30 bits says, almost as if the insurance sector is super easy to manipulate as long as you know how to get away with it. Crimsy Omega says, hi Hannah and everyone, I'm trans and mentally disabled person who has recently become homeless. I know it's weird that I'm asking this, but if anyone wants to, my Cash App is $CR1MSSY if you want to help me get back on my feet. Love you all. Sorry if I'm bothering y'all. Not bothering at all. If anyone wants to help out, Stana in need, there is the Cash App. Joey is strong. Thanks for gifting a sub. Appreciate it.
Said 2 terms, and he did. He's going to get.
Oh, this is great. Someone's trying to do a Let's Go Brandon coin. Yes, cryptocurrency. 82% to level 2. With 20 seconds left. Someone save it. Blackwing Hecate says, no, that guy misread. Wasps aren't God's chosen people. Wasps are. God is a giant Vespa form. iMiracle with 100 bits. Thank you. 89%. So anyway, this says, hey Bryson Gray, we love your song over here so much that we made a Let's Go Brandon crypto coin. We are donating to the Wounded Warriors Project with every transaction. We would love some support from you. Our ticker is $FJB for obvious reasons. I'm Miracle with another 100 bits, and Cool Sage, thanks for 8 months. Thanks for the hype train, everyone. So, someone's trying to, you know, grift right-wingers with a Let's Go branded crypto. Big Bird says, I got the COVID-19 vaccine today. My wing is feeling a little sore, but it'll give my body an extra protective boost that keeps me and others healthy. Miss Erica R. Hill even said, I've been getting vaccines since I was a little bird. I had no idea. So it's just like a tweet from a fictional character. Sorry if I ruined the mystery of Big Bird for anyone. Fictional children's character saying this, you know, to make kids feel better about getting vaccinated, because I believe it just got okayed for kids 5 and up. And then Conman89 says, can't believe you caved to the government. Shame on you. To Big Bird. Cappycorn, thanks for 2 months, says, it's my subiversary. It sure is. And then Nick says, someone should add a T to the Let's Go Brandon acronym. Hydrate. Wait, why is this? Like new ice trays, most ice Like new ice trays, most ice included, but some are missing. Will not separate. We are a MAGA home and will not sell to Brandon people. Pet-free, smoke-free, but not God-free or freedom-free home. What? Is this just a joke? Is someone selling ice cube trays with ice in them? I assume that's a joke. It's hard to tell these days, but... Let's see. Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, announced his production company, $7 Productions, will no longer use real guns on the sets of any of its productions and will use rubber guns instead. Not a bad safety measure, considering the recent incident involving Alec Baldwin on that production, and then, of course, there have been issues in the past. Brandon Lee. And then this person says, great, now the woke mob has ruined action movies, because apparently you can't have an action movie unless you fire a real gun for some reason, even though it's incredibly easy to fake fire a gun and add post flash effects. Alright, let's get to the longer form content. Raven says a rapper named Tech9 and The Rock did a song. Who asked for this? No idea. Let's start with Vegan Teacher. Nick says, how much do you want to bet the Chud just wants more Hollywood liberals dead? Maybe. I don't know. He likes The Rock, apparently, enough to comment on the article, though. Sorry, let me pull something up on my phone real quick, and then we'll get started. Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones. Something, 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 something. Okay. So, that Vegan Teacher has a new video. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super familiar with what happened recently. I know Travis Scott was involved in an incident at a concert of his or something, where a bunch of people tragically died. They were, I think, trampled to death or something. It had something to do with poor crowd control. I can't say I really know what's going on. I haven't looked into it. But, of course, that Vegan Teacher will use any tragedy or excuse to make this about her and her veganism. So let's find out how she feels about this situation and how she stretches to make this about her pet project.
Travis Scott, the rapper, he's an animal abuser. He gets sponsored by McDonald's. He encourages millions and millions of people to keep going there.
Is this the most pertinent thing right now, after, like, 8 people were killed? Like, really? His sponsorship with McDonald's is what you have an issue with? I think maybe you should prioritize other things, and then maybe people would listen to you more because they would consider you a more reasonable person, but whatever. Garo the Khajiit says, quick everyone, get ready for the I'm gonna eat meat now joke. That never gets old. Ashibu says, it was horrifying. The crowd rushed the stage and several people were trampled to death and nobody stopped the show, even as people from the crowd escaped and were screaming at them to stop the show. That's disgusting. Raven says, Travis Scott, the rapist. Oh god, are there allegations? I don't know who the fuck Travis Scott is. I do not listen to him. Are there accusations of misconduct in that way as well? Nick says, considering your thoughts on the 9/11 victims, it tracks. True.
I'm not okay with it. Did you hear what happened to him recently at his concert? He witnessed the death of many people. They all rushed the stage. 50,000 people at his concert wanted so badly to get so close to this guy that they crushed each other. They were packed together so tightly that they couldn't breathe. Some of the victims were as young as 10 and 14 years old. Why would anyone want to go and see somebody who's an animal abuser who gets sponsored by McDonald's?
What does this have to do with the fucking people who died? What are you doing? They probably go and see him because they like his music. Most people are not vegan. Most people do not hold the same convictions as you in terms of your ethical considerations towards non-human animals. I'm sorry, I know that upsets you, but most people do not care, at least not in the way that you do. I think most people care about general animal welfare and would prefer that livestock be treated humanely, but most people also are fine with animals being killed for food. Or at minimum being like, you know, bred and then having their milk or eggs or whatever used as produce. Most people don't care. They don't. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying it is what it is. So your entire, like, question of, why would people want to go see this animal abuser? Because if he's an animal abuser, 99% of the audience are also animal abusers. That's why. Weird rhetorical question.
As a society, we need to get our heads on straight. If you're ever going to get crushed by a bunch of people because you're doing an activity, it better be because you are rushing into factory farms to save animals.
What the fuck does this have to do with anything? Ah! Marcus Drake says, I think, why would they see a terrible person? Why would they see a terrible person as setting up to blame the victims? Oh no, you might be right.
That's a good way to die. You get crushed because you're rushing the stage to...
And even if, like, let's say she wanted to... It's completely tasteless and she shouldn't do this. But let's say you're that vegan teacher and you want to somehow compare these two situations. Let me be clear. Again, you shouldn't do that. But if you're going to, at least try and do so in a way that makes a little more sense. Be like, oh, all those people were really pushed together and uncomfortable and they were all packed in there. Can you imagine what it would feel like to, that's your whole life? Well, that's what animals go, you get it. There's a rhetorical line of thinking you could go through with this that relates the situation to your cause. You're still gonna come out looking like a ghoul, but it'll look a little more related. It'll make a little more sense why you brought it up. This is no relation. This is literally using SEO juice and just trying to get, you know, people who search Travis Scott to click on your video. It's disgusting.
Going, what? Touch the foot of him? Be in his aura? He's an animal abuser. Stop paying.
She has an unlimited supply of just cardboard-like bits. You ever notice that? Because it kind of looks like construction paper, but if it's construction paper, it's like thick, high-quality construction paper. So it seems like she just has a lot of, like, cardboard paneling around that she can write on for this stuff. Wonder where she gets it. She's just regular the craft store, or... Raven says, is this woman my cat? Because she's making a big stretch.
For the imprisonment, the enslavement, the rape, torture, kidnapping, and murder of innocent animals who didn't want to die. Don't follow people who get sponsored by McDonald's or any of those places. That should have been your...
Who does McDonald's sponsor? McDonald's sponsorships. Who has McDonald's sponsorships? Let me see who their promotional partners are. NASCAR drivers, who I don't recognize, FIFA World Cup people, the NBA as a whole, the Olympics. I can't believe McDonald's is the official fast food of the Olympics. That's so weird to me that a fucking McDonald's is, like, the sponsor of peak athletic achievement. KR Goss says, she said in one video she asked her neighbors for all the boxes to use for those. Oh, okay. Wow, her neighbors go through a lot of boxes. Celebrity J Balvin, Travis Scott. I assume that sponsorship is about to come to an end. Justin Timberlake, and Venus Williams. Okay, that's fewer people than I would have thought, honestly. I was going to say 4 non-athletes, but Venus is an athlete. I don't know who J Balvin is. Colombian singer and rapper, so not an athlete. And a bunch of NASCAR drivers. Why do they sponsor so many NASCAR drivers? Interesting. Anyway, regardless, not that many people are sponsored by McDonald's on an individual level. Overthought says, so where's the line for her? She's vegan. What about everyone at every company she buys anything from? Should she not buy from them because they have animal abusers in their ranks? No ethical consumption, teacher. Raven says McDonald's is actually implicit in funding apartheid Palestine. Gross. Blackwing Hecate says Travis Scott, not to be confused with Raymond Scott. Have I seen NASCAR fan? No?
First clue, all of you people who went to see his concert. What were you thinking?
Oh, this is feeling a little victim blamey. That's not good.
Don't follow the crowd. Think for yourself. Here, let me put it in writing.
Think for yourself. Now let me tell you exactly what you need to think and what your ethical system of belief should be.
For you, so maybe it'll help you remember. Here. Stop following the crowd. Think for yourself. Stop wasting your life.
Katie, weren't you a teacher? You're a teacher. That's the wrong version of wasting. That's as in, like, wasting your life. What? You're a teacher!
How do you think you're wasting your life? What do you think you're doing right now? Can you figure it out? This guy promoted one of his concerts. It was live on something called, I don't know, Fortnite. You can stream it, whatever. 12 million gamers watch one of his concerts.
Okay. Now she's going after gamers, the most oppressed class. So this is about to get intense.
So,
Blackwing Hecate says, I thought you were going to say that you thought she'd be a better, at pedagogy, being a teacher. Garo the Khajiit says she was probably as good a teacher as she is a veganism spokesperson.
Are these the elite of society? Are these the top level thinkers?
No, he's a musician. I don't know if I've heard any of his music.
I offer you this. Stop playing video games. Use your time to learn and save the world instead.
Consider this, though. If I play video games, I can save many worlds, from Skyrim to the universe of Mass Effect, whatever the fuck is going on in Minecraft. It's just more efficient that way.
You don't like me, do you? You're thinking to yourself, well, there's nothing wrong with playing video games, but
This is gonna be a weird boomer take.
there is. There's everything wrong with it, because while
Baha, did you hear that? If you're downstairs playing the Hot Wheels game that I got recently, you should be very ashamed, according to the vegan teacher. Blackwing Hecate says, I'll stop playing video games when you stop defacing your beautiful... Are you playing the Hot Wheels game? I thought so. Blackwing Hecate says, yeah, I have a super smart, hot gamer GF. I know you're all jealous. Blackwing Hecate says, I'll stop playing video games when you stop fiance. I'll stop playing video games when you stop defacing your beautiful sweaters with childish slogans. That sucks, because that sweater actually looks very comfortable. Daddy Sume says, Hannah, you have to watch this? Do I have to? Meek says, if I could, I'd make Katie a wood elf from Skyrim because they only eat meat and other humans. Really? Oh, this is an actual... Oh, no. Oh, no. This is an Arizona congressman. I'm disgusted more and more every day by the world in which we live. Raven says, anyone else remember the Israel Defense Force streamer Catgirl thing? Did that actually happen? The answer is yes. Yes, it did. I don't remember that. Bittergrin says, not sure who made it, but Arizona Representative Paul Gosar posted it. Ashley Annie 67, thanks for 10 months, says, oh no, I missed the birth of our sub-baby because I haven't caught you in so long. Can I still get a name anyways? Sure. This baby's name is Meat Muncher. First name Meat, second name Muncher. Tucker White says, I'm not even a fan of Attack on Titan and this offends me. iMiracle with a link. Dear Evan Hansen with half a star. This is just a 2-hour-long Darmon video. Yeah. Grizia says, that's Paul Gosar, not understanding that Attack on Titan is a criticism of anti-immigrant sentiment.
while you're doing that activity, you're not learning. And here's another one. If we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. So how did this thing happen? Exactly this way. See, if somebody like Travis Scott had learned from history, from what happens at other concerts, and how insane people can be, he would have made sure that the seating was arranged in such a way that it would stop people from rushing the stage.
I don't think Travis Scott... I don't think in any concert of that size the performer sets up the sitting arrangements of the audience. Again, I don't know anything about the event. I don't know what his culpability is. From my understanding, he continued performing even when he knew something was going on, which is not cool. But, like, again, I don't know. I feel like she's putting a lot of shit on him that the seating arrangements weren't him. Raven says, there's a representative in Texas named Matt Krause who introduced a bill of 850 banned books in schools. Meanwhile, these goofballs were getting their little Pampers in a twist over 6 Dr. Seuss books. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
When you put 50,000 people in an enclosed space with no seats, of course, the back, they're going to rush to the stage at the front.
He told people to rush the stage, which started it? Oh, yeah. He deserves that shit, then. That's not a seating arrangement thing. That's a being a dumbass thing. First-hand account from a woman there. Oh, this is going to be depressing, I bet. Let's see, who I am in this story is not important, rather it's important the things I have now witnessed. Astroworld, Houston, Texas. Travis Scott is the only one performing. I don't know how many people were at the festival, but I do know that every single person was at that stage. My friend and I wanted to be close to the stage, as close as we could possibly get. We were not able to get very close, but we did end up on the side near the walkway in the middle. Surrounding us were chest-high metal gates, barriers. We stood there for 2 hours, as did every other person. Every gap was filled. Where your feet were placed was where they stayed. Energy rose as the time neared. Beginning the show, within the first 30 seconds of the first song, people began to drown in other people. There were so many people, tall men, women and men, where the only thing they could see was the back of the person in front of them. The rush of people became tighter and tighter. Breathing became something only a few were capable of. The rest were crushed or unable to breathe in the thick, hot air. My friend began to gasp for breath, and she told me we needed to get out. We tried. There was nowhere to go. The shoving got harder and harder. If someone's arms had been up, it was no longer possible to put down. So we began to choke one another as the mass swayed. It became more and more violent. We began to scream for help. We could see security just a few people over in the walkway in the middle. Oh, I lost my place, sorry. It became more and more violent. We began to scream for help. We could see security just a few people over in the hallway in the middle. It got tighter, impossible to breathe as our lungs were compressed between the bodies of those surrounding us. More people began to scream for help. Oh my god, this is so long. The music continued. Hundreds of people ripped their vocal cords apart, screaming for help, but we were not heard. There was nowhere to go. My friend was trapped between people on every side of her, and she desperately tried to move towards the rail. It was no use. The screams intensified as more people realized they could not breathe. We begged security to help us, for the performer to see us and know something was wrong. None of that came. We continued to drown. More and more, one person fell or collapsed. It didn't matter how it started. Once one fell, a hole opened in the ground. It was like watching a Jenga tower topple. Person after person were sucked down. You could not guess from which direction the shove of hundreds of people would come next. You were at the mercy of the wave. I watched my friend be dragged away from me and lost sight of her. I began to realize in that moment that there was a way to die that not many people know about, being trampled to death. I saw terror in every eye that I met, even the ones that told me to breathe and stay calm. We knew there was a very big chance some of us would not make it out alive. I was pushed away from the rail into a crowd of people, where I could hear from another direction the shrieks of animals. It was happening all around me. These sinkholes of people. I was moved back towards the sinkhole I stared at and was pushed to the edge of it. I sunk my feet into the ground, put my arms out, and tried to stop anyone from entering the circle, or pushing those already in it. I was shoved further to the ground, my face down at the cold, hard plastic below us, and saw the body of a man, his face below mine. I lost it. There were people below the ones I could see from above. There was a floor of bodies of men and women below, 2 layers of fallen people above them. I began to shriek. I felt a primal tear rip through me, and I'm not sure anyone understood the magnitude of the situation below. I screamed. There were people on the floor. There were people unconscious, being trampled by every foot that slammed into the ground as each individual tried to keep themselves upright. I saw his face. I became a shield for him. I think he smiled at me. Then I was shoved to the side. I saw more shoes slammed down to the ground, exactly in the spot his body lay face up. I couldn't help him. I couldn't help any of them. I didn't stop screaming the entire time. No one knew there were people below those that they could see. I almost met the same fate. I was losing balance and I asked a man to grab me. He pulled me up and I righted myself just for a fraction of a second before I was sucked back into the crowd. I couldn't take what I saw. I had to get out. I had to help. I had to do something. Somehow I went towards the back of the crowd. At a guardrail, a man pulled me over it. There were so many people just standing there like nothing was happening, like people weren't dead a few feet from them. I saw the cameraman, eyes glued to the stage, elevated on a platform that looked directly into the crowd. I climbed the ladder and pointed to the hole, telling him people were dying. He told me to get off the platform and continued filming. I screamed over and over again. He wouldn't even look in the direction, so I pushed the camera so it pointed toward where I had just come from. He became angry. He called someone else up. I told him the same thing. People were dying. We needed to stop the music. We needed help. We needed attention towards the mass because I thought if only these people were aware, maybe they would do something. The other man grabbed my arm and told me he would push me off the 15-foot platform with no sides if I didn't get down. I told him to help. I told him people were dying. I showed him where. He wouldn't look in the direction either. I was in disbelief. Here were two people that could actually do something, had the power to do something, cut the camera, call in backup, pause something. They did nothing. I looked over at the sinkhole. People were screaming, reaching out their hands toward me, calling for help. I couldn't see the floor. The strangest thing happened in that moment. People began to boo at me. They pointed their fury at me, unleashed a rage. I screamed people were dying over and over. No one would listen. Somehow I ended up on the ladder, going back down. Mindlessly, I should have ripped that camera to shreds. I looked the other guard in the eyes and told him he was the one responsible for countless deaths. He did nothing. I went onto the platform, called 911. The only thing they said was they were calling the media team in. I told the operator over and over we needed to stop the concert because we needed a pause. We needed a light, awareness of the deaths. Nothing. A kid watched me under the platform, watched me break down in tears, explaining how I saw people crushed, stomped on, unconscious. He watched the operator say nothing of use to me. I went out, not sure of what to do. Suddenly, two men in red medical shirts looked confused and lost, bumped into me. I explained everything, and they told me they had gone in and saw nothing. Two girls that were in the pit with me were standing beside me. I heard that and helped explain it was there. We led them to it. They climbed the metal gates and went through to the people. Those were the only ones working that were brave that night. I had endless respect for those two men. We waited, the two girls and I, and watched people being thrown over the railing, people trying to escape the cage we were in. Holy shit.
Yeah, so Katie obviously understands nothing. It wasn't seating. It was like the ground, you know, the ground.
It was a standing
tickets.
room only.
Yeah. Like, you pay, there's an area that's cordoned off, and you just get there when you get there and you stand.
Yeah.
And so everybody was rushing the stage. Also, there are videos verifying that this girl did get up on the platform. She was trying to get help. The, cameraman dude did, like, his wife came out after they were getting death threats and stuff and said he was the one that called the two medics.
Okay.
So, like, he didn't just do nothing. But there were also images of people, like, getting up and standing on the medical cart, which prevented people from actually getting help and stuff. It was really, really crazy. And I just can't even imagine. And then to have Katie, which I'm not surprised anymore by at all, say that this is the victim's fault because they decided to go to a concert for an animal abuser. God, Katie, you're just the worst. You're just the worst. And I really, really... You turned me away from veganism. I've been vegan for just as long as you have been, and the only time I ever think about not being vegan anymore, and I'm not saying eating animal stuff, I'm saying not calling myself vegan anymore, is when this bitch does shit like this.
Ashy Boo says, trigger warning for what you're reading. It's very graphic and traumatic. Yeah, that was bad. Mike Mack says, bet Call will say this is some kind of ritual and those people are sheeple. Let's see. Let's see if you already said that, shall we?
So I've been vegan for just over 5 years now. And right now I am eating basmati rice and japur dal. So it's like lentils with tomato and stuff.
Call got another channel deleted. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Was it does he still have a call for fudge kittens?
That one became a call and then the number 4.
Must have been a different channel. Let me see what he posted here. Sesame Street. No, looks like he doesn't have a video about the Travis Scott thing yet. Raven says, don't be sheeple. Also, where we go one, we go all.
Cole had a channel before it got deleted that had over 500,000.
I think it's still there.
subs.
I just think he stopped posting to it. Daddy Sume says, bingo, Baja Blast on the bingo card.
Someone asked me why I became vegan. I basically kept getting kidney stones, and they did a bunch of like treating it, calcium deficiency, blah blah blah, a bunch of stuff. And then once we tried everything and I kept getting kidney stones, they said that it might be animal protein, and so then I became vegetarian. And at that point, I never liked eggs, I never liked cheese, and I was also lactose intolerant. So at that point, I was basically vegan already. And so I just went full vegan. Originally, it was for health reasons, so it was like plant-based. But I did have a friend, Willow, that was vegan, and so she helped me become vegan. I was vegetarian for a while, and then I was 99% vegan, and what that meant to me was all the stuff that I would make myself would be vegan, but if I went out and the only option was a vegetarian thing, then I would get the vegetarian thing. And so I was like 99% vegan for like a year as I transitioned to not eating anything with animal byproducts, and now it's been like 5.5 years.
The insanity of human nature, or at least in that crowd. Stop hanging out with these insane people. Start hanging out with people who are actually trying to make a difference in this world, to make it a better place. The fact of the matter is this: if you're not vegan, you're an animal abuser. So don't hang out with animal abusers. Don't go to concerts that are being sponsored by McDonald's. Don't follow any rappers who are being sponsored by anyone who hurts animals.
I fucking hate this woman.
Don't follow people like Drake, who wears these fur coats that are made out of 40 dead animals.
Jeff Millard says, if Call got a channel banned, would it be possible for someone else to sign up for YouTube using the name Call for an Uprising and keep him from getting it back? That's not how it works on YouTube. You can make a channel called Call for an Uprising. He has multiple channels called Call for an Uprising. Blackwing Hecate says, hey Hannah, you're trying to make the world a better place. I'd like to hang out with you. I'd rather hang out alone.
What? I'm confused.
I was just making an introvert joke.
You're never alone.
Tea with Goblin says, okay, when does this become cult behavior, attempting to isolate members from non-adherents in order to exert further influence over them? She's doing it unintentionally, I think. I think she just hates people.
What will it take? I don't know. I can tell you this, though. All of those people at the concert failed ethics class. They failed to understand that they should not be going to any kind of concert by somebody who is being paid by McDonald's.
Bitch, a 14-year-old kid died at this concert. I know the mic's really close to me, but I'm mad. Fuck you. Kids can only eat what they are given. Fuck you. I can't say that enough. You think that a 14-year-old kid has the actual ability to decide what they will and will not eat? No, they eat what they're given by their parents. And fuck you.
Does the vegan teacher have a Twitch account? Not to my knowledge. Tucker White says, I won't lie, this really makes me crave McDonald's right now. That's not me making a joke. I'm just hungry. I'm hungry too.
Any of these other places.
I'll eat when I'm done.
Go and see who their sponsors are and check out their companies. Check them out. If they're vegan companies, okay, maybe you can go to those concerts, but be smart about it. Don't put your kids, your 10-year-old or your 14-year-old, don't let them go to these places unless they have been seriously prepped. Where are the exits? How can I get out of this situation? How can I be the level-headed person in the crowd?
Doesn't really matter. That's kind of the point. Tea with Goblin says that vegan teacher is like 2 beats away from justifying the murder of people who own dairy farms or work in butcher shops. I mean, she literally did a video where she agreed with someone saying they don't give a shit about the victims of 9/11 because they hate meat, so yeah.
Okay, Katie. What is your absolute problem? She goes and shops at grocery stores that sell meat.
Yeah.
So you're an animal abuser? You shop at a grocery store that sells meat, lady.
Not only that, she takes advantage of it and uses it in her videos. She
Yeah.
films it on her videos.
She literally, she is exploiting animal abuse in her videos. That's what this is. She makes money. She tries to create, like, shock, horror videos. She constantly talks about baby chicks being ground up. And she's making money off of it. At least if there's, like, a documentary from a non-profit that's really genuinely just trying to get the word out and, like, blow the cover of, like, animal abuse in factory farming and stuff. Mm-hmm. They're not making money off of it.
Wouldn't it be funny I would find this, like, an Andy Kaufman brilliant move if Vegan Teacher wasn't even vegan, and she just, like, was like, I'm gonna make a character that pisses everyone off so much, they'll give me hate views, and that's how I'll make my living. Because look at her. Her ratios are flipped compared to what, like, a normal person's. Usually around 10% of an average video will be dislikes. On almost any video. If it's a competent video. So her ratio is flipped in terms of likes and dislikes. Yeah. It's almost like a calculated move. And I'm not saying this is real. I'm just saying it's funny to think about. It almost takes a concerted effort to be this dislikable by everyone.
I mean, think about it. And I'm not saying that this is a fact, but hypothetically, look at what she does online. She plays characters.
Yeah.
That vegan teacher. That vegan therapist.
Non-vegan therapist.
That vegan nurse. Like, she's constantly playing a character. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if that vegan teacher is a character and she's not even vegan. And that's just a hypothetical. I have no evidence to that, and it probably isn't true. But, like, she is constantly playing characters and just trying to bait people.
Marcus Drake says, in my opinion, being vegan is just objectively better morally. I was really excited that I got my rabbit skin ushanka today. Fake fur and fake meat is the best way to help reduce animal suffering, not whatever this is. Blackwing Hecate says, where are the exits and how do I get out of the situation? There weren't any, and they couldn't. That's literally the problem. Jeff Millard says, how long until she comes out with a video about how most Holocaust victims ate meat? D. Brayman, thank you for 9 months, says, been a while since I could catch a stream live, back with an updated username. Hello. That's 9 months. Stream baby name. What, give me an idea for a stream baby name.
Ooh, Water Bean.
Water Bean? Okay, sure. Water Bean. Raven says, CNN YouTube channel is like that. I'm convinced that it's a concerted effort, like MAGA Chuds get the memo from Dennis Prager, and they all use their keyboard warrior powers.
We've been watching so much It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia that when you said Dennis, I immediately thought of Dennis.
He is a golden god.
It's very hard when you have a bunch of people who are on drugs or who are just insane, like on the drug of this drug that is like an adrenaline rush to go and see somebody. People are just human. Unless the person isn't saving animals and vegan themselves, don't support them. That's my message for you today. For those of you who have learned something here and have decided today that you want to be vegan, happy Vegan Declaration Day. If you've decided finally that this is the day you want to stop paying into these societies, these industries, the dairy industry, the meat industry, the egg industry, congratulations to you. Happy Vegan Declaration Day. Write it on your fridge. I'm really proud of you.
What if it's my vegan undeclaration day? Like, Christ.
Krizia says, didn't she already claim that the animal holocaust is worse because none of the animals choose to abuse other animals? I don't remember that.
I remember that.
Okay. Meek says, speaking of names, what's your middle name, Hannah, if you don't mind? I'd rather not say. Daddy Sume says, hey, Hannah, can I share the religion built up around my D&D character with you in Twitter DMs? Sure. D with Goblin says, prior comment just made me realize Hannah requires a purple Ushanka. Is that one of these?
Oh, yeah.
I've looked at these before. I always feel weird. I don't want to feel like a tanky, like I'm appropriating USSR imagery as a joke, or even like, Raven says, one of my favorite bands is called Cattle Decapitation. I know it sounds like the opposite, but they advocate veganism through brutality. Nick says, if every day is Vegan Declaration Day, then no day is Vegan Declaration Day. And Blackwing Hecate says, I want Comrade Hannah emote.
What are we pitying Baja for?
Thanks for being here. Seriously, I feel bad about the victims. It's awful. I can't even imagine getting a phone call.
Clearly,
that says that somebody
you
from my family died
don't
at a rock
care
concert of
about
all
the
things.
victims.
It's terrible. Last thing I want to show you, though, is this. A sign that dropped, but this is it. I want you to watch this important
I've seen it! Mike Mack says we serve the Soviet Hannah.
documentary. If you're not yet vegan, watch it. Learn what happens to the chickens and the cows and the pigs, the sheep, the lambs, the turkeys, the fish. Find out how to protect our future. Don't waste your time playing video games. Every minute that you're playing a video game is a minute lost for you to learn, to be in touch with nature, or to at least...
But what if we have to unlock all the Hot Wheels cars and Hot Wheels Unleashed?
Okay, but like every minute we waste watching one of her videos...
True.
...is a minute that we could be getting in touch with nature, saving animals. Like she... Why isn't she out there saving animals? She has said before that you're not an animal activist. Like, all vegans should be animal activists.
She thinks this is saving animals.
But it's not. She has also promoted a dude that said, just because you don't eat meat doesn't mean you're saving animals. Like, you didn't save any animals. You have to actually go and physically save an animal to save an animal.
She thinks she's convincing people, and that's enough. Blackwing Hecate says, I have a sort of Ushanka that has red panda ears. Tucker White says, well, that was awful. Let's watch this classic as a cleanse. Oh, God, what is it?
Hey, you say you...
Oh, the MCDLT. Boo Poop a Doop says, eating ribs and playing Super Mario Odyssey. Nope, I read that. Nope, sorry, wrong one.
DLT mean?
I'll tell you in a sec. Raven says, every minute you're playing video games, you could be on your Sigma grind set. The MCDLT is, oh gosh. It's a McDonald's burger from the 80s. Deluxe lettuce tomato, I think it stood for, something like that.
Getting tired of lettuce and tomato hamburgers in this town that don't quite make it? Yeah! You see that...
The gimmick with the McDLT was the lettuce and tomato were separate, and then you would put them on yourself so they would stay, like, not, you know, all heated up by the...
Just once, you'd like your hamburger hot and your lettuce and tomato cool and crisp all at the same time? Yeah! Well, I say,
This is Jason Alexander, who later went on to be in Seinfeld.
I'm talking McDonald's new lettuce and tomato hamburger, the McDLT. I'm talking quarter pound of beef on the hot side.
And the hot stays hot.
The new McDLT.
Hot, hot.
Crisp lettuce and tomato on the cool side.
And the cool stays cool.
The new McDLT.
Cool crisp.
The beef stays hot, the cool stays crisp. Put it together, you can't resist. The hottest taste, the coolest dish.
Keep it hot, hot. Keep it cool.
So it's basically a quarter pounder, but with lettuce and tomato that are separate.
Cool. McDLT.
Dr. Hecate says it came in a non-biodegradable styrofoam container. Yay!
It's a good time.
They also put the cheese on the lettuce and tomato side, so it's not gonna melt.
McDonald's could be the best tasting lettuce and tomato hamburger ever.
Nick says hedgehog cleanse. In fairness, the McDonald's cheese, which I worked with a lot when I worked at McDonald's for like 3 or 4 years in high school and college. The McDonald's cheese is incredibly easy to melt. Like, if you, like...
It's mostly, like
emulsifiers
oils.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's melty. It'll melt immediately if you put it on a warm burger, even if it's been a little bit. Like, if you held a McDonald's cheese in your hand, your body heat would probably melt it if you did it for long enough. H. Baird says, would Lloyd Braun have made a better commercial than this? Lloyd Braun. Why can't I remember who that is?
My mom worked at McDonald's for 17 years. Someone was shocked at 3 to 4 years at McDonald's.
Show me the orbs says, to balance out all the saving of animals, I'm gonna go out and hunt a deer right now. Oh, look, it's that joke again. Raven says, someone Minecraft me in Roblox, please. H. Baird says, I read that one. Stephen J. Neptune Man says, I don't use this term too often, but isn't it ableist to assume that everyone is capable of going outside to save the animals? I guess. I don't know. Tea with Goblin says, when I watch cringy old ads or TV series like this, I always wonder about the dancers, singers, actors in the background. Did their careers pick up? How are they doing now? Most of them are probably still alive. Fun to think about. A lot of them probably just did SAG-related day work and did fine for themselves.
What I said was my mom worked at McDonald's for 17 years.
Learn from history and try to change things moving forward. Your life is so short. A minute goes by like that. And next thing you know, you're like my age.
Lloyd Braun was George Costanza's rival? No, I didn't remember that. Tucker White says that ad is so bad and cringe that it loops around being awesome. Also, it's so jarring to see George Costanza have so much energy. Stephen J. Neptune Man says, has Vegan Teacher talked about the people of color who have said that veganism is a Eurocentric concept designed to help further wipe out indigenous cultures? I don't think she's ever talked about that, no.
57 and you're like, oh my god, how much time do I have left?
I know she's talked about people criticizing for her, like, white veganism, you know, type stuff, but I don't think she's specifically addressed anything like that.
You know? Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Coming up on screen are going to be a bunch of other videos. Please be curious, look around. You know, I have a whole bunch of different things, over 1,000 videos. And don't forget to subscribe and press...
How much paint do you think she goes through for her shirts?
A gallon a year.
Blackwing Hecate says, I thought it was weird seeing him with so much hair. Jamie Lynn says, the country is doomed. People like her and other right-wingers are going to kill us all. I just want a husband and to be left alone. Yeah, there's a new video an hour ago. Oh, God.
Well, look who it is!
Oh my god,
It's a non-vegan therapist video, and it's her talking to Nickocado Avocado.
Yeah.
Not really, but as a bit.
It isn't my favorite patient, Nickocado Avocado. Come on in, sweetie. Come on in. Come on. Come and have a seat. Do you notice anything different? Huh? Brand new couch just for you. Made for up to 1,000 pounds.
Oh, fucking shit! Tea with Goblin says, I don't like her. Like it. Mother haven't killed. Look, Nick clearly needs help. I recognize that. I'm not gonna pretend Nick is not doing unhealthy things and he needs help, but, like, god fucking damn. That's some mean shit.
Also, like, he also needed help when he was vegan.
Yeah.
Like, it you know, it just seems like he went from being unhealthy in one direction to unhealthy in another direction.
Yeah. Tucker White says, isn't one Vegan Teacher video enough for a stream? This is only 3 minutes, though.
Isn't that great? And you're what, only 400 now? So, yeah, you know, it's going to be great for many, many more years. Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean you want to quit therapy? Why? What will I do? I mean, why would you want to quit therapy? Aren't we having such a good time together? You're tired? You're tired of it. Oh, okay. You want to change. Why would you want to change? Your life is going great. You have millions of followers.
I'm so confused by what she thinks therapy is.
Me too. I don't think she understands.
No.
Everybody loves you. You're always like going on all of your channels, and you got your big belly hanging out, and you're jiggling and wiggling in Walmart and everything, and dancing.
Like, there isn't a therapist. Okay, there's virtually no therapist on the planet that you could, like, have Nick go to who would be like, you're doing great. You're clearly, like, are not doing anything unhealthy.
Like, also, she's objectifying the body of a dude that's, like, half her age.
Blackwing Hecate says, you really shouldn't be having a good time with your therapist. Ashy Boo says, as someone who plans to become a therapist, this is infuriating to watch. And Blackwing Hecate says, if you're having a good time with it, you probably are doing it wrong. It depends. I've had sessions with therapists that went fine. Like, were friendly, especially if we were in a particularly good place in, like, whatever we were working on. But, yeah. It can be rough.
And everybody, you feel like they're making fun of you. Oh no, Nikki, no, that's not the way it is at all. You want to go back to being vegan? Oh no, Nickocado, no. That is a terrible, terrible decision. You have so many followers right now on social media. What if you lose them? That's exactly what you're worried about. You see, we're the same. Exactly. You should be worried. You're going to lose all of these amazing followers and all the money that you get. And what about all those mukbangs? You make people so happy when you sit there and just shove all that dead flesh into your mouth and just throw food around and everything. You know, you're so entertained. You want to be vegan, but you're worried about vegan phobia. Well, vegan phobia isn't a thing. I mean, come on. Me? You're starting to think that I'm vegan phobic? Nickocado, come on. How long have we known each other for? This is what, your 743rd session? We've known each other for ages. You know I'm not like that. I just always have your best interest in mind. You want to do what? No, back to playing your violin? Like professionally or being a teacher? Nick. You know, I know how noble that sounds, but I mean, you can't really make money playing the violin. I mean, who really likes that instrument? Honestly, it's not like it's an electric guitar or something. Like, you gotta be reasonable.
You can play an electric violin.
Yeah, people say you're good, but it's really true, you know? You should, no, you should definitely not try to go back to being vegan. Oh my goodness. You know, those things are just so crazy.
She's clearly never been to a therapist.
No, that's not the way for you. No. Just stick with me, Nickocado. We'll figure this all out. Just come back next week, okay? Are you available on Friday? Or how about tomorrow? You want to come back again tomorrow? Yeah. Perfect.
What the fuck is her problem? MH Darkbeast says, just got here, but did you see the Eternals cringe? Oh god, what is it?
Review of Eternals. Let's get it on, shall we, with Tyro Magnus's movie review of Eternal. It's woke. Yeah, well, let's start out with that. There's woke. There's a part I had to close my eyes on, because I wasn't ready for none of that.
God.
Close my eyes on, because I wasn't ready for none of that. It's not part of my lifestyle. Yeah. Wasn't ready for that.
Does he think that watching it makes it part of his lifestyle?
I don't know. I always find it weird when people are, like, super defensive about, like, I can't watch two gay people kiss. Like, why?
Like having sex with women is also clearly not part of his lifestyle. But I'm sure he watches
breaking down
that.
walls and barriers. They're breaking down walls and barriers. That's alright. I don't know. Like I said, I'll never watch it again. I don't know what the hell's going on. Let's get it on.
Holy shit, people are the worst. Daddy Sume says, this isn't a therapist, it's a manager. Blackwing Hecate says, someone should introduce Darkseid to her. I think she may contain the anti-life equation. Narnadia Owl says, I guess she's projecting that one time she was browbeat into seeking professional help and just got annoyed 10 minutes in. Chrysia says, what the F does she think the therapist is? Also, she's so condescending. Blackwing Hecate says, I disagree with calling the Eternal superheroes. Blackwing Hecate says, shots fired, Baja. Raven says, stop making me gay. I ain't gay, man. I swear. Marcus Drake says, everyone knows homosexuality is visually transmitted. Someone fetch my eye condoms. Melody the Scorpio, thanks for 2 months, says, neat, though the first month was a gift sub, which, by the way, thank you, and today I subscribed with Prime, aiming for a sub, baby. Already looking at names. Well, thank you. Did I see Eternals? Not yet. I'll see it at some point.
Oh god, who was the baby-faced kid?
Him?
Yeah.
He believes Invincible is feminist propaganda. Why don't you pick? Should we do Elliot Hulse's transphobic shit? Invincible is feminist propaganda? Peter? Yeah, those 3 options.
Elliot.
Elliot? Oh, no.
Get it over with.
So Elliot Hulse has a new video. It's bad. This is legitimately some of the worst advice I've ever heard any one human being give to another human being. He basically tells this guy to harass a trans woman and be awful to her, and he doesn't understand. I assume that this is going to make this guy lose his job if it gets reported to HR. I don't know.
This is going to make me, like, violently angry, isn't it?
Yeah. Daddy Sume says, I'll be back later. Elliot reminds me far too much of my father. I feel you there. See you later. Raven says, this brother seriously pisses me off, so I'm going to sign off for the night. I don't blame you. All right, let's check out Elliot.
Yo, Elliot, my question would be being an...
Oh, trigger warning, misgendering, dead naming, transphobia. If you can think a negative thing about, you know, anything triggering involving being trans, it's probably in here. Just fair warning. TubeMan says, I'm probably going to skip Eternals. They always hit me as one of those, hey, we're not the X-Men kind of groups, like the Inhumans. Yeah.
An older king, I'm 58 years young, working for corporate America, I have to deal with this cooties mandate.
He gets into the trans stuff after he talks about the cooties thing.
He's talking about the medicine. I'm not going to get the cooties jab, right? Even with the pressure put on by all. Well, that's good, right? So you know where you stand, you draw the line, and you said, no, there's nothing more masculine than a man who knows his boundaries and enforces them. You're not going to...
There's nothing more masculine than being an ignorant baby who says, I don't care what doctors say, you can't do that to me. Very manly.
Yeah,
prick me,
I mean,
no matter
the
what.
Ultimate man
right?
is
And we have
someone that's
so
a
many...
snowflake bitch baby that doesn't listen to doctors and thinks, I know everything because I'm a toddler. It's mine, 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 mine. I know everything.
Powerful young and older kids
really
in this program
today.
that have said no, and it's causing them a lot of grief in their work. Young man, Michael, I think it is Matthew, who's a Marine, and he comes on at least every other Thursday and talks about the challenges
Blackwing Hecate says Baja is alive tonight.
He's having in the military because he believes in bodily autonomy. Right? And it's even tougher for them because I think when you're in the military, you sign your bodily autonomy over to the state.
Hey,
so he's having a
dipshit. If he's in the military, he's already been shot up with who knows how many fucking vaccines, which is good, by the way. Vaccines are good. Something we learned 100 goddamn years ago. Ah! MH Dark Beast says, I like feisty Baja. We need her to co-host more often.
Hell of a time. But I admire and I want to acknowledge all men who have stood up and said no, even if it costs you your quote-unquote livelihood. Because what is a livelihood?
But I thought that men were supposed to be providers. So now you're telling them to quit their job because they're little bitch babies who don't want to get a shot? But I thought they were supposed to be providers. You don't like it when your wife works or when she works for someone that's not you. So how are they supposed to get money?
with no life, right? And what is no life? What is a life with no sovereignty? So I want to acknowledge you for that. So it doesn't sound like that's the problem.
That guy should also stop wearing a seatbelt, too. After all, what is a life without sovereignty? And I won't have these fat cats in the government telling me I need a seatbelt, okay? I don't need these carpetbaggers at the FDA telling me which lettuce might have shit in it, okay? Blackwing Hecate says, quote-unquote livelihood. Star Moss, thanks for 16 months. Is he Christian? Yes.
He goes on to say, also, I'm dealing with a co-worker who's transitioning to becoming a female.
Again, I need to warn again, this is incredibly transphobic shit. Just so you know.
I can't wait to blast the shit out of him.
Oh, Lord. Tea with Goblin says, remember, boys, men assert boundaries are masculine kings. When women do it, they're shrieking harpy feminists and unsuitable for marriage. I might have to raise the bits limit again. I'm getting so fucking many lately. Overthought says, quit your jobs, lose your homes, so I can actually buy one. Zealous says, imagine standing over Elliot as he's coming in and out of consciousness from COVID, and you whisper in his ear as he wheezes for sweet oxygen. This shit ain't masculine. Narnindia Owl says, new flavor of Baja Blast just dropped and I'm digging it. Nick says, me too, Baja, in Roblox.
So a man who's becoming a female, and he says, this bothers the hell out of me. I love the guy, and yes, he's still a guy to me. As in Arnold's movie Kindergarten Cop, he says, boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. Right? It's almost too basic. The Marxists, they have to destroy everything. And
you know
Marxists?
You know what Marx wrote? He wrote, fuck Kindergarten Cop.
Okay.
Marx.
Okay. So, let me get this straight.
Hydrate.
Mr. Hulse thinks that bodily autonomy is perfect and that you should quit your fucking job because they want you to get a vaccine. So he thinks that people should have control, full control over their bodies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then a woman wants to transition and present how she feels comfortable, have her body how she feels comfortable, and express herself how she feels comfortable. Is that not the same thing as having full autonomous control of your body?
No, because he thinks trans is gross.
Yeah, well, just because you saw a trans woman on the cover of Sports Illustrated one time and you freaked out because she was attractive, just like many other women, there are lots of women that are attractive. I'm attracted to women. I'm a bisexual who leans towards women. Hence this lovely lady. You're so mad that you saw that now you're like, meh. Trans women.
Blackwing Hecate says, communist trans cat girls rise up. No gods, no masters, no squirt bottles.
So we see the Marxist, and we see Satan through the Marxist doing all they can to pervert even the most basic of human traditions, which is boys have penis, girls have vagina, right?
And so you admit that it is a human tradition. It is societally created. And also, Elliot, let me pose a scenario for you. You're a Christian. You think that souls exist, I'd assume. Are you gonna take a bite?
I'm just fucking around.
Oh. She's gently using my chopsticks. So you think souls exist. What about, someone knows on the inside who they are? What if they think that their soul is female and their body just isn't? I know
he would just say that doesn't happen.
I know that he would say that. But you guys are the ones that believe in souls. You think that there is something completely separate from the body.
Yeah.
And that when you die, you shed this bodily prison. Fucking fuck off, dude. How did you know that you were a man? It's not because someone told you that you had a penis
Tucker White says, don't you know, Hannah, communism is when girl have pee-pee. Karl Marx said it in chapter 666 of the Manifesto. Maps and Mimics, thanks for 10 months, says our stream baby. Gigantor the Eternal is already 2 stories tall. Should I be concerned? No. Once he hits, like, 6 stories, call someone. Blackwing Hecate says, I'm a girl, I have a penis. It's all about the mouthfeel, bucko.
But, you know, we're swimming in this shit, and a lot of us are affected. So anyway, he says, it bothers the crap out of me that I have to call him Jenny instead of Jeremy. He says, I love the guy as a brother and is always there for me when I need him. To me, will never be a sister. This is amazing.
Okay. You cannot love someone if you do not respect them. When someone transitions, it very clearly shows them exactly who loves them. Like, you've experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that just don't respect you. Like Hannah's dad, Hannah's mom. They didn't respect her. And even though, oh, this dude is saying, oh, I love her. You don't. No. You're saying...
He loves the idea of the person he thought he knew, more so than the actual person, otherwise he would accept her for who she actually is.
Yeah, and the thing is, this person isn't changing. They transition. Their outward appearance is going to change. They're going to be more comfortable. They're going to be more happy. Like, watching Hannah grow since she's been transitioning, you know, even since before that we were dating and engaged and everything, like, just watching her become more comfortable with who she is, that's the best. And that's the whole point. If you love someone, you want them to be the happiest, the best version of themselves that they could possibly be. And I couldn't imagine not seeing Hannah as who she is. Like, not getting to see you be this happy and be this confident in yourself and be this, you know, this version of you. Like, that's love.
Stephen J. Neptune Man says, we all know if this was 1996, Elliot would be saying all of this about gay people and how the Marxists are using gay people to destroy American society. I mean, I think he does feel that way still, to be fair. Daddy Sume says, I love and respect you, Hannah. I am a Stana. Thank you. Tucker White says, Southern Hick Hannah. You just brainwashed by Big Gay, by how God made us in his image, even if he put the wrong digits on you. Blackwing Hecate says, I keep getting creepy. Hit-ups on POF. Don't know what that is. From people
Plenty of fish.
Oh, from people who haven't read my profile. Does this mean I pass? I guess. Cool Sage says, Hannah, Baha, I struggle with this. I lost a lot of respect for my dad since 2016, steady decline, but I feel like I still love him in some way, and he constantly reiterates that he still loves my commie shit-lib self. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that one. I cut my parents out of my life. I'm happy for it.
Major problem in this world. So I'm going to invite you to just shift your paradigm for a little bit and try this experiment, right? So it sounds like you don't have any negative feelings towards your Jeremy or Jenny, right? You know, I mean, you say you...
Except you do! You do.
This dude's name is Elliot. I'm gonna laugh. Fuck off, Elliot.
If you are not accepting of someone coming out to you as either gay or trans or bi or whatever it happens to be, if you're not accepting of that, then you do have ill feelings toward them. I know it doesn't feel like it to you because it doesn't feel malicious, but I assure you, it is. It is. And if you genuinely cannot deal with that for whatever reason, which is really weird, and you should see a therapist about that if you can't handle someone else coming out, but then you should just be honest about that and remove yourself from that person's life. If you can't be an actual supportive, decent human being, you don't get to be in that person's life. You shouldn't be hurting them.
The whole point of love is support and care and, like, doing all of the things that make them the most happy. Like, just fuck off with this bullshit. Like, It makes me so mad.
You love the guy as a brother, right? We've been through stuff. I know you, you know me. Things have been good. And when you love somebody like a brother, you know what, men, we often talk about how women.
Nick says, I hope the idiot who writes into Elliot gets fired publicly for being such a piece of shit. I doubt it'll be publicly, but yes, I hope he gets fired too if he follows this advice.
Women shit test each other, right? Or shit test men, right? That's one of the things. Oh, be careful. Women are going to shit test you. You know what men do to men? Shit test. Women don't shit test women because everything they do is covert. They shit test men because they want to see if you're what you say you are, right? And so before they give themselves over to you, they want to see, is this man really what he says he is? So women will shit test you. But men do the same thing to other men, right? And so you're old enough to know that if you can't handle a little jab from another guy, then you're just not going to make it.
What did you say earlier about the vaccine, by the way? Weird choice of words here.
Guys do that to each other. I have friends, my brothers, my dad, right? They jab me every once in a while. When I say jab.
Isn't it always funny, by the way, when assholes, and like just the complete fucking assholes, usually dudes, are like, if you can't take me throwing shots at you, then you're just a bitch and you're not gonna make it. Like, no, you're just an asshole. You are just an asshole. The world does not revolve around you being a piece of shit and then expecting other people to just deal with it. And if they don't, they're bitches. You are a bad person and an asshole, and other people do not like dealing with you for that reason. There's a difference between, you know, just making jokes among friends and being an absolute asshole. Like, there's a line, and Elliot is over that fucking line. Color by Emmy says, is it a shit test when you eat da poo-poo? Tucker White says, yeah, that stuff about supporting someone and accepting them as they are, provided it's not toxic traits, is great and all, but everyone knows true love is sharing someone into shaming someone into conforming to rigid social order. Meek says, women don't shit test women because everything they do is covert, so they covertly shit test you.
Jab, I mean, not that jab. But, like, you know, little elbows, little jokes, right? Jokes, and just, you know, my dad might not agree with something that I'm doing, so he'll make a joke about it, but you know, don't hate me, right? It's the same things with friends and stuff like that. I have friends. I'm thinking one friend I'm going to link up when I go to Orlando. I'm always ragging on him, right? Because he sets himself up. But we're great friends. There's no hatred. There's just, hey, man, you still doing that effeminate thing, right? And I just joke with you, right? And the cool thing is that when a man is a man and a man's with men, they can really handle it. What happens is a lot of guys can't handle it, and those are guys who have the mind of their mother.
Again, bear in mind, he is going on this diatribe about men shit-testing other men and men having to put up with it because he is still defining this trans woman as a man, and this is what he's segueing into.
But also, he is saying that the men have the mind of their mothers, but he's also saying that the mind of, like, women don't shit-test. So, like, what is it? Do these guys have the mind of their mother and are shit testing you, or are they, you know, do they have the mind of their mother who can't shit test you because she's a woman?
Maps and Mimic says, every time I see a relative that at least pretends to be supportive of me being gay, making fun of trans people, I 100% know that they'd be saying it about gay people if it was 10 to 20 years ago. I think you're being generous. They probably say it behind your back. Blackwing Hecate says, wait, men who have the mindset of their mother, has he been listening to Jesse Lee Peterson? Probably.
These are effeminate men. You say something to him, you know that one guy, you ever had that one guy amongst your friends? I'm assuming that you guys are kind of like me in this. But you ever have this one guy, that one friend, who you can't say nothing to that guy because he gets emotional. He throw a hissy fit. He take his ball and go home, right? That one friend is like, yo, everybody kind of messes with each other, but you can't recognize. Here's the thing.
Could you imagine not wanting to be disrespected by friends and, like, getting hurt when they do disrespect you?
Ridiculous. He must have very healthy relationships with the people he cares about. Maps and Mimic says, I hate it, but you're probably right. You know?
This just makes me so uncomfy because there are just so many things that all of this shit could be said about.
Yeah.
Like interracial marriage. like gay people. Obviously, he's talking about trans people. Like, why isn't the line, like, where's this line? Where's the arbitrary line that you guys want it to be at?
Tucker White says, Elliot, that quote friend unquote in your circle is you.
We test each other. Women test men because they want to see if he's made of what he says he's made of so that she can give herself over to him. Men test other men because we want to know hierarchy, pecking order, authority, and who you can trust, right? So this is all latent biological stuff, and it's okay, right?
It was not okay.
So with all that being said, if this is your buddy, right, and he's going through this whole thing, I would probably, if he doesn't already know, let him know, hey.
Here comes the advice that's the worst advice you could possibly give anyone about them being uncomfortable about a friend or family member coming out as trans.
Dude, you know, I love you. Like you told me, I love you like a brother. But
that's about the worst thing you could say to someone who's just come out as... Okay, there are a lot of bad things. A lot of what he's about to say are bad things, but opening with, I love you like a brother to a trans woman, not good!
That's like when people's parents say, like, oh, my son or daughter is dead now. It's like, what the fuck is your problem?
Cool Sage says, according to Elliot's logic, you roasting him puts you at the top of the pecking order. Obviously, I am the alpha trans woman. I am the alpha sigma omega trans woman. That's a fact. Color by Emmy says, I thought men established hierarchy with a PP sword fighting tournament.
You are such a bottom, you couldn't be on the top of any hierarchy.
Alright. Blackwing Hecate with the link says, the only pecking order that matters.
You have all come to train on my lookout, but since I am quite old, I shall leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo.
Oh, Mr. Popo.
damn sure I ain't never calling you Jenny. Right? And like you could say it the way I said it right there because I'm being charismatic and joking, right?
You are a fucking charisma black hole, Elliot.
You come off as the biggest douchebag ever, and that's not charismatic, nor is it a joke. It's just being fucking transphobic. It's just being a bad person. It's not funny. It's not charismatic. It's none of those things.
It's fucking wild. Like,
this is a good way to have the last conversation you will ever have with a trans person, by the way.
Like, this dude, like, she's not gonna be your friend for very much longer. You won't even have the opportunity to dead name her or misgender her. You will never be friends with her ever again.
By the way, this is, like, the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, she, like, goes and kills herself. I'm not fucking kidding. Like, this shit is fucked up. If you're genuinely one of her close friends and you say this shit to her, not good.
Also, like, I kind of hope that this guy says this shit and then gets fired. Because this is a coworker.
Yep. Chrysia says, how the fuck is that joking? I don't know. I don't know what the right considers jokes. It seems like just being an asshole they think is a joke.
Like, hey, Jeremy, I know you're going to get your dick cut off and taking some hormones, buddy.
That's
You know
not
I
how it
love you,
works.
but don't expect me to call you Jenny. I might call you something else. Maybe call him Jay, right? Like, I'll just call you Jay, right? Jenny, Jeremy.
No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Do you want me to call you H?
Please don't. Please do not do that.
I'm gonna call you Jay from now on. Is that cool, right? Because I gotta do me, right? You do you, I gotta do me. If we're gonna be working together, we have to have a
This
trick.
dude is gonna do him right into the unemployment.
Nick says, best case scenario is this idiot gets educated. Yeah, I doubt that very much. If he's already an Elliot fan, I don't think there's much hope for that dude.
If I gotta walk around watching you in a dress and high heels and stuffed bra, right? Like, that's, people like to say that, you know, you should.
Elliot, trans women, that decide to take hormones can grow really nice, beautiful tits. Like, very suckable, delicious tits.
All right.
Shouldn't violate people or, how is it, encroach or infringe upon people. But that's an infringement upon you as well, right? That's an infringement upon...
No, it isn't. It is not in any way. Imagine if someone got their name changed for some other reason. Not trans-related. Let's say someone's name was previously, Aaron, and they want to change their name to Bob. I don't know. And they come to work and they're like, hey, this is my new name. This is my legal name. I changed this. Please refer to me as my new name. And you went, no, that's an infringement on me. No, it's not. It's not in any way, shape, or form. If you find that to be an infringement on you, all that means is you have deep-seated issues about, like, in this particular case, trans people that you need to deal with. But it's not your place to decide what other people call themselves. Nick says 30 bits for Baja, and it's a bonk emote. Cool Sage says he's going to be educated by company-mandated diversity training at this rate. Maps and Mimic says Baja, bonk, go to horny jail. Tucker White says Hannah shushing Baja like she has standards. Butternips, cough. Tucker White says fucking keyboard. S key is broken. I assume so. I know you wouldn't misgender me.
My sense of reality. That now I have to watch you walk around in high heels and a bra, and I know you're a man, right? That's offensive, right?
The best test if you're an asshole, I think, in cases like this, is if you see someone coming out as gay or trans or anything that's like a big thing like that, and you in your head think this is something that is happening to you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example, and I've talked about this before. My mom told me this happened. Like, when I had changed my name, not legally, because that was more recent, but when I was still talking to my mom, wasn't talking to my dad at that point, and she was using Hannah in front of my dad to refer to me, which of course is not my given name at birth, he told her at one point, like, don't do that to me. Don't use that name. Not everything is about you, motherfucker!
I mean, he literally is a motherfucker.
MH Dark Beast with 100 bits says, fuck this twat waffle, and Snipe becomes a stream boss. Thank you. Tea with Goblin says, positive trans story is a cleanse. My friend E is a trans woman who was taken very well to estrogen. She went to her GP to check up on HRT stuff and mentions that her boobs have really come in. The GP quickly flicks her eyes to the cleavage and back says, wait, those are natural? She was grinning all day. Maps and Mimic says, the right's ability to joke dead ends at misgendering and let's go Brandon. It's fucking sad.
The world is so weird where that person will be offended if I don't acknowledge their psychosis, if I don't play along with their game. Oh, you're offended. But how about me? I'm offended because I've been calling you Jeremy for the past...
Okay, then shut the fuck up. Then shut the fuck up.
Okay, it takes $0, Elliot, to just not talk to this person ever again.
Sure, if you cannot respect someone, then disengage and only talk to them, talk to her in this case, when needed for work, and you have to use her appropriate pronouns and name.
Like, just, Elliot, come with me down this path. You preach and want so much respect for yourself. You want your wife to constantly respect you. You want your kids to constantly respect you. You want to have all of the respect from everyone to ever exist. But you are so against giving anyone else even a sliver of that same respect. Do you understand how much of a douchebag that makes you? Number one, it also costs $0 to just call the lady her fucking name. It's not even that far from her name before. It even has the same letter. Like, are you fucking joking? It costs $0. It's not an offense to you. It's not warping your shitty little version of reality. You're not pretending that she's a woman, even though you used to know her before she transitioned. Like, this is just how reality is. It's just reality.
Crimsy Omega says, I'm always reminded of the scene in The Office where Andy declares himself as Drew. Nick says, report Elliot for transphobia. Tucker White says, let me translate the subtext of Elliot's rant from the last few seconds.
Why is my penis hard? Why is my penis hard?
Okay.
That's 20 years, and I gotta call you Jenny. You're encroaching upon my life. You're encroaching upon me. You're encroaching upon my sense of sanity in this fucking world.
Oh my god, can you pause this?
This is the most, like, narcissistic worldview I can possibly imagine. Where you believe everything happening in the world is something happening to you, and navigating around the complicated world we live in with billions of other people, if someone does something that you don't like, it's a slight against you personally. It is fucking insane.
Also, Ellie genuinely thinks that a friend coming to you and saying, hey, this is the real me. This is who I am, who I've always been, but I trust you enough to share this part of me with you. And he thinks that this is encroaching on him. Having a friend that trusts you is an encroachment on yourself. Like, literally, fuck off.
Blackwing Hecate says, I like that Baja is acting more bothered about the rampant transphobia than Hannah. I'm used to it.
I am her advocate, and I lie.
My point here for you is don't get angry. Don't get upset. Choke with him. Hey, Jay. Just call him fucking Jay.
Yeah, that's not a joke, and they're not gonna like that. You're gonna get your fan fired, you dumb asshole.
Hey, just call him Jay.
Like, genuinely. Like, all the morality of this aside, which it shouldn't be, because it's, you know, important, but, like, let's put that aside for a second, and just think practically speaking. How detached from reality is Elliot that he thinks this is good advice that will end well for his fan? Seriously. Does he really not understand that if this guy does this, he is genuinely risking his job and he's definitely losing that friend? Like, does he just not give a shit, or does he genuinely not know? I can't tell. Blackwing Hecate says, I knew that. I just found it funny. I like this Livewire Baja Blast cross-trade.
Hey, right? I refuse to call you Jenny, and just stick by that. Not because you angry, not because you hate him, not because you're trying to change anything. Because
it is literally all of those things, though.
Yeah.
It is literally all of those things. You're butthurt that trans people exist and are allowed to exist openly now. So just like you refusing to get vaccinated and losing your fucking job like an idiot, it's you trying to plant yourself down as the world moves on to a better place and going, no, I refuse. It's a token show of resistance against trans people existing openly. That just makes you an asshole. You're not enlightened, you're not logical, you're not principled. You are a fucking asshole.
Like, could you imagine what Elliot would do if one of his kids came up to him and called him Elliot instead of Dad?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would be such a sign of disrespect in his eyes because he wants to be called Dad, even though Elliot is his actual name, you know?
Blackwing Hecate says that's one reason that I choose a name that doesn't share an initial with my dead name.
hey, that's the way I know you. That's the way it's gonna be. And if we boys, let's just be boys.
They're not. They're not boys, though. They're not boys, Elliot. Did you not listen to literally any of the story that you are giving advice about?
We can't be boys anyway. So just make jokes. Make jokes. Jokes.
I genuinely feel like I'm watching a shitty Michael Scott, where he's like, just joke. Like, imagine if someone was like, I don't even know what an equivalent scenario would be. Imagine if someone went up to Elliot and air quote joked by, like, saying racial slurs or bad things about him. Would he consider that funny? Would he consider that a joke?
It's just a joke, bro.
I doubt it. You fucking
He reminds
asshole.
me of Tim Allen.
Now, Tim Allen at least has done cocaine. I think Elliot's not Tim Allen.
Yeah, but Tim Allen pretty much has the same views as this guy.
I don't know much about Tim Allen other than I've heard he's an asshole.
Oh, he's like a super right-wing.
Yeah, I know.
Jokes ease stuff if people could handle jokes. Now, if people can't handle jokes, like I was talking about before, like
That's not a joke. You're literally just trying to define insults and being transphobic and calling them jokes because you think if you call them jokes and laugh after you say a terrible thing, then it okays it. It's not. Doing uncomfortable laughter after you say a racial slur or a gay slur or a trans slur isn't a joke. That's not a joke, Elliot.
Like when you shit.
Daddy Sume says Tim Allen is a chud, like typical boomer dad chud. Yeah, he had a whole show about that.
He's a little worse than a typical boomer dad chud.
Tucker White said, I think you underestimate boomer dads. Being honest, if you think that. Tucker White says trafficked cocaine too. He was pretty high up in the Kalamazoo drug hierarchy too.
Do you think that typical boomer dads have as much reach as Tim Allen does?
No,
okay,
but it's not about reach.
Go.
You didn't make it seem like it was about reach. You made it seem like it was about the content of his opinions.
No, it's about the fact that he is spreading those opinions all over the place.
Meek says, Tim Allen's all about being a man, but his new show, he's just a blogger. Real masculine energy there. Narnandia Owl says, if you try to make a joke out of someone's identity, chances are they won't be laughing with you. Yeah.
When men shit test other men, the guy who can't handle a joke is the guy that gets left out. You don't become friends. You don't get to hang with us because you're always whining, you're always crying, you can't handle it.
You're the one who's whining and crying in this case, though, Elliot. You understand that, right? And it's not even about a joke. It's just about someone's identity.
Yeah, this is like you met someone off the street you thought that their name was... You just looked at them and you thought that their name was like Tony. And so you just went up and was like, hey, Tony. And they're like, my name is not Tony. It's Steven. Like, my name's Steven. You're just like, no, like, your name is Tony. I know your name is Tony because that's what you look like, a Tony to me. And then they're like, no, my name is Steven. I know my name. And they're like, well, you're ruining my worldview.
Tucker White says, well, we're on the subject. I also find it funny that Elliot thinks that this guy is the one who will be like he thinks in this story, what was the woman's name, Jenny or something like that? In this case, Elliot thinks Jenny will be the one to face consequences if she can't, quote, take a joke, when in reality, the person who wrote Elliot is the one who will be either fired or, like, just generally ostracized from society in the way that we do for, racists and shit. Like, being an asshole means people don't want to deal with you. Ask my dad. He has one friend who he's known for years, and he only hangs out with him because he sells him weed. Elliot's advice is good if you want to spend every day of your life working, immediately coming home, getting super drunk and high, and never interacting with other human beings while also emotionally abusing your family. Otherwise, don't take Elliot's advice, though.
That sounded like it came from... You were speaking from experience.
Yeah.
A joke. People should be able to handle jokes. Look at what happened to...
It's not a joke. You're not joking. You're just an asshole.
Dave Chappelle. He tells jokes. That's his job.
Saying I'm Team Turf isn't a joke. It's just saying I'm an asshole.
Okay.
He tells jokes.
What does he think happened to Dave Chappelle? He got a platform to spout his transphobia and tell everyone that he's a turf? Like, he literally is on Netflix, one of the most popular streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think happened to him? He made a bunch of money?
Nern India Owl says, AK, this Chud's real life.
Jokes about all kinds of stuff, all kinds of people. No holds bars. That's what the Joker is. That's what the Joker card is all about. All bets are off. It's Joker time, right? Trickster time. I'm a Joker. But you know that there's a faction of the population that feels so entitled to your allegiance that
you feel entitled to call people whatever you want, even if it's not their fucking name.
All I can hear when he's talking is me, me, me,
Yeah.
me, 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 me.
It's so fucking wild.
Fucking joke. And you know who that is? LGBT. LGBT cannot handle jokes. Anything or any.
Your idea of a joke is just saying, I think you're mentally ill and fuck you. That's not a joke. That's not a joke. Like, imagine someone putting on fucking white, robes and, like, KKK shit and going to a KKK meeting and be like, we're just joking. It's not a fucking joke. You can't just call being an asshole a joke and expect people to be like, ha ha ha.
And this is the same dude that if someone went up to him and be like, oh, dude, you look so feminine in that shirt. Like, you shouldn't wear a shirt that cut. Like, you look like a lady. He would cry for days.
Nern India Owl says these people literally don't know what a joke is other than a smokescreen they can throw out when they get called out for their bigotry. D with Goblin says, Elliot, I have an entire library of deeply inappropriate jokes about the Catholic Church. You can take a few jokes about your religion, right? It's just a joke, bro. Blackwing Hecate says, Elliot, you know we live in a society, right? Because you're the Joker. MH Darkbeast says, Elliot Hulse, I'm the Joker. Do you want to get these emotional scars? Or do you want to got these emotional scars? I assume that's supposed to be, do you want to know how I got these emotional scars? Crimsy Omega says, does he think that it's okay to just call people whatever you want? Interesting. I shall call him Wubsy. Mike Max says, he won't be laughing if people made fun of him by using his masculinity, family, political views, and race. Yeah.
Anybody associated with sexual perversion can't handle jokes, and the Marxists created it that way by creating offenses, right?
No one was offended before Karl Marx wrote anything down. Before he wrote the Communist Manifesto, whatever. No one was ever offended by anything. Then the second, people were like, the means of production. Wait a minute.
I didn't know that we were sexually perverse, us guys.
Last time felt pretty perverse.
And weaponizing the language, right? They weaponize gender now. That's a weaponized word, by the way. When I was a kid, we said sex. Now they say gender because you could weaponize gender. You can't weaponize sex.
They mean different things.
Gender and sex existed when he was a kid.
He just didn't hear about it. Maps and Mimics with 30 bits says bonk.
Right. So, well, you can weaponize sex, but the word itself. So, listen. This is a personal situation. Deal with it individually. Deal with it with that guy. I think what I said is a valid way to approach it, right?
If you want to lose your fucking job, that guy doesn't seem to care anyway, though.
Yeah,
he's probably not going to get vaccinated and get fired.
Yeah, like, if he doesn't get vaccinated, he's probably going to get fired anyway.
Yeah.
Then he doesn't ever have to worry about seeing his friend ever again and misgendering her.
Daddy Sume says, to be fair, I'm incredibly perverse. His head would explode if he found out my stuff, and I can 100% weaponize sex. Have you seen my OC? 2 cocks, Elliot.
Loose, be flippant, be fun. See if you can handle it, right? If you can't handle it, then let him take his balls, if he still's got them, and run. Yeah, take your balls and run, right? I have no animosity.
And she will run directly to HR, where a report will be filed, and you will probably be disciplined if not fired. Good luck. Daddy Sume says, to be fair, I just read that one, and then Daddy Sume says, I can't believe you actually read that, Hannah.
Towards you. I have no hatred towards you. Now, I see where you're going with, this is a major problem in the world. If we're going to attack problems in the world, where do we begin, right? Because there's all kinds of problems that we could be upset about. And I find myself getting irritated too. But unless we going to do something about it, unless we going to stand on that hill and die, then it makes no sense to even bother. It makes no sense to say anything. It makes no sense even to be upset. Right? Because the world is going to do the world's thing, and the world is under the grip, under the influence, guided by, hypnotized, and riding off the cliff with Satan.
Everything I don't like is Satan. Blackwing Hecate says, I came in on Daddy's comment about attack sexuality, and I'm reminded of abridged Alucard's takedown of Rip Van Winkle. I don't know what any of that means.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Tucker White says, wait, I thought we decided the last Antifa meeting we were at a stalemate on weaponizing sex.
And you ain't gonna beat Satan. None of us could beat Satan. Only Christ could beat Satan, right? In Jesus' name. So, don't try to fix the world. Don't be too caught up in the problems.
Remember when Jesus said, be awful to people and insult them and say the worst possible things you can to them and then just call it a joke and then it's okay? That's very Jesus-like. Narnandia Owl says, Elliot, we get it. You watched Call's videos. Daddy Sume says, the Subaru needs to woo be driven to woo the end of Elliot's driveway and then just have sex in front of his house. Just give him all the debauchery. Show him true woo weapons.
Jesus. World. If you have children, you know, you're 58 years old, maybe you have children, you got to protect your children, you got to protect your wife.
I wanted to save that for tomorrow.
My father used to say, in these four walls. Anything outside these four?
Cool Cat says, in fairness, Jesus was an ass to people and that one tree. True.
I was just seeing if it said anything about sexual perversion and Satanism.
Okay. Time out somebody else. Daddy? Sure. Both of you did it at the same time, so I'll only do the first one. See you later, Daddy Sume.
Four walls. Let the world go to shit. Let it burn itself up. But as far as me and my house, we serve the Lord. And that's, that's really your most important thing, man. Let these people do what.
I'm so scared. One of Elliot's, I believe he has 2 daughters. I'm so afraid one of them is gonna be trans or gay or bi or something.
Whatever they want to do, they're signing their souls over. They're, that's fine, right? Fine. I become less libertarian as I gotten older.
He has 3 daughters and a son. Okay.
And more conservative because I see the value in preserving tradition. But I still have a libertarian bent to me when I say, look, do whatever you want, just don't force it down my fucking throat, Jeremy.
Misgendering people and dead naming them isn't a joke. You're just an asshole. Meek says he has 3... I read that one, sorry.
So anyway, I hope that helps, dude. Done.
Yo, it's your bro, Elliot.
Elliot is such a piece of shit. You know what? Fuck it. This one was bad enough. This is Hall of Shame. This is fucking bad. This is some of the worst, like, material I've ever seen in regard to, like, giving advice about any sort of trans thing ever. It's just awful. This is it now. Let's see.
Okay. So let's answer that dude's question, like, with actual good advice.
Okay, one sec, let me save this. There we go. That's better.
Baby.
Alright, so the advice would be, your friend is now trans and has trusted you enough to come out, so you need to accept that. If you can't accept that, then that probably means you have deep-seated issues with trans people, and you probably need to investigate why that is. If you believe trans people are mentally ill, I would suggest you actually talk to literally any trans person about this, maybe your friend, although that's going to be rough considering they're obviously going to know you're disrespecting them, but you could do research online about why trans people are not mentally ill simply for being trans, etc., etc. Get over it. or know that you're an asshole and you're losing your friend. I'm not being the most pragmatic with the wording of my advice, but there it is. That guy's a fucking asshole.
My advice is stop watching Elliot. You'll be much better for it.
Good advice. Okay, let's do Invincible guy. This guy thinks Invincible is feminist propaganda. Invincible's a really good show, by the way. It's on Amazon. I'd recommend it.
He looks like he's 14.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Narnia Owl says, advice, respect your friends. Don't thank me, it's on the house.
Invincible is feminist propaganda. Now, I must admit that I did enjoy the fight scenes in this show. Unfortunately, that's right about where my enjoyment ended, because most of it is poorly written, juvenile, and amateurish.
Yes, the amateur.
I find that interesting because I really like the writing of Invincible. Like, it's not always perfect, but Invincible's like a show. Hold on, I missed Mike's. Mike Max says, start at 110 if you want to know about the Helsing abridged reference. Just 110.
I don't have to take this from you.
I don't care. I tried. It's anime. I do not care. The second it's anime, I stop caring. Anyway, I like the writing in Invincible. I think it's good. I think the characters are very human. It's good.
How it's not amateurish. Like Robert Kirkman has written
Robert Kirkman, one of the most praised comic book creators of the last couple decades. Creator of not only Invincible, but The Walking Dead, one of the biggest new franchises, again, of the last 2 decades.
Yeah, and it's not like Robert Kirkman just wrote the comic that it's based off of. He was one of the writers on the show.
Yeah.
Now, before I hop into it, I want all of you to keep a few things in mind, so pay attention.
What's The Walking Dead? The Walking Dead is a show that's worthless after the first season, and a comic book series that is quite good.
It's worthless up until they kill off Glenn.
Okay.
It's worthless once they kill off Glenn.
Okay.
Stop watching there.
I think you should stop watching after the first season, because I don't care about the farm. Meek says, Invincible actually addresses issues like male sexual assault. Don't MRAs like when people address that? They like paying lip service to it, to say that, men have problems too, but they don't like actually addressing it, because that would involve destigmatizing vulnerability in men, which they don't like.
Yeah, they don't actually care. They just care to the point of throwing it in the faces of, women that are talking about sexual assault and using, well, men get sexually assaulted as well. But past that, they don't actually want to do anything about it. Cassia! Cass! What are you doing, baby?
I called it propaganda, which implies that the subliminal messaging is done consciously and on purpose. But that might not actually be the case. The subliminal feminist messaging by which this show has been thoroughly saturated has also been slowly injected into our culture for decades.
I genuinely, and again, we watched Invincible. I've seen the episodes multiple times, I think. I can't think of any overtly feminist messaging in the show.
Yeah.
There are female characters with agency, but that's just pretty par for the course these days.
He's probably mad because
Adam
one
Eve.
of the dudes got his ass kicked by the girlfriend of the Invincible.
That's not even a new trope, though. What the fuck?
At this point, certain aspects of feminism have become so deeply ingrained into the psychology of our culture that they have become the default operating system used by hundreds of millions of people.
So maybe you're just in the minority and other people aren't extraordinarily feminist, nor is society. You're just, a person who hates women and doesn't want women to have rights or agency or, competently written characters. It's just a thought. If you're the odd one out.
All of whom believe that they are the ones from which these thoughts are originating, and that their minds are impervious to any outside manipulation. My point is that whether the writers consciously included such a
Everyone's thoughts and morals to one extent or another are derivative. It's how we function as a species. is sharing knowledge and ideas and changing them slightly from person to person. It's literally just how humans work.
Okay, I have some tips for this kid.
Okay.
So it looks like his focus, he probably has it on manual focus. It looks like it's just slightly off. Like his face is just a little bit fuzzy and out of focus. And then also move the camera a little bit higher so that you're straight on and not having to look down, because that can hurt your eye muscles. Those are my tips for him.
I wanted to play.
A vast amount of brain mush, or if it is just a subconscious consequence of being subjected to a lifetime of feminist propaganda, is not what's important. Very often, unbrainwashed people overlook this since they think it doesn't affect them. The part that is significant and...
Have you considered if a message pervades all of your culture, then it's not propaganda and it's just the prevailing moral sentiment of the populace, and you are against that grain? Like, maybe it's not feminist, although I guess you could argue it is depending on what framework you're talking about. But, like, women having agency isn't even, like, third or fourth wave feminism. That's, like, second wave feminism.
Okay, so, chat, we don't talk about people's looks. It doesn't matter if they're a chuddy person, we don't talk about their looks.
And that everyone needs to realize is the parasitic feminist ideology that has invaded the writers' brains is injected into the things they create, whether they're aware of it or not. Which brings us to the show Invincible being one of their infected creations. Movies and shows don't manifest out of thin air. They're created by real people with real psychology. Behind every scene, there is a real reason why the writers made the characters act a certain way, why they framed the scene a certain way, or why they included the scene at all. And this is still the case even when the show frequently includes scenes that appear to have little to no relevance to the story whatsoever. Media is prime real estate for planting new thoughts into your subconscious mind without your pesky psychological defenses getting in the way, because you're trying to relax, which means your guard is down. All it takes is a...
What do you mean? Does he think he's teaching people that stories and media have, like, morals and themes? Does he think he discovered the idea of stories having themes? I don't understand.
I think so. I think that he didn't realize that things could be anything past entertainment, and he watched one YouTube video that reviewed a show and talked about the themes outside of just the actual text.
The literal, as opposed to just the literal plot, talked about the meaning of the story, and he's like, wait a minute, this is subliminal messaging. No, it's not. It's just how stories work. Blackwing Hecate says, subliminality is when no one else agrees that the message I put onto things there is there. Xenon Exemer says, did this guy just discover theory of mind? Ashibu says, this guy needs to stop talking about psychology like he knows what he's talking about, or I'm gonna Minecraft.
I think
a tiny bit of it to resonate with you before it slowly starts growing on you, insidiously infecting your perception of the world without you even thinking twice.
I'm sure he's real popular,
it's very sneaky,
too,
and they do this with
given
many more ideas
his
than just
personality.
feminism. There is most definitely a reason why these scenes were included, but we'll cross those bridges when we come to them later in the video. In case you haven't seen the show but are planning on watching it,
Invincible is, and he's just like,
I don't like feminist propaganda.
And everybody's just like, what are you talking about? There were women characters and they actually talked.
Hydrate. The Bechtel test is secretly just to discover if something is feminist propaganda. Daddy Sume with 100 bits. Welcome back.
I've never seen you exasperated over a fucking Power Rangers reference before.
Daddy Sume broke me. Blackwing, and not even in like a fun way. Blackwing Hecate says this is why Doug Walker is dangerous, folks.
We'll be spoiling the entirety.
You've been horny for Daddy Sume.
It's the only joke I can think of in regard to Daddy Sume.
Because you're talking about Daddy Sume impregnating you twice.
That's true. I need to get better Daddy Sume jokes that aren't about horniness for Daddy Sume. Narnindi Owl says, but I'm a nice guy. Why doesn't anyone talk to me? Must be the feminist propaganda.
Of the current season. These are the characters in the show whom I will be frequently referring to. We've got Nolan Grayson, aka Omni-Man, Mark Grayson, aka Invincible, Eve, Amber, William, Debbie Grayson, the mom, and I'll bring up others as I go along. We begin on a regular day in front of the White House when suddenly trouble breaks out. The evil blue twins are causing mayhem, and just as one of the helpless male guards is attacked, the first
They're clones.
superhero on the scene, Hot Girl, War Woman, swoops in to save this pathetic...
It's kind of a mix between Hawk Girl and Wonder Woman. I took it more as Wonder Woman, but yeah, that's Hawk Girl too.
Worthless man. Just as a side note, it's never...
What? She's a member of the analog for the Justice League and they're all beating up. What?
Never mentioned why these supervillains are even trying to kill the president, or why they are rushing...
It's a show.
Wait, are you asking why in a superhero show 2 mutant clones with guns are trying to kill the president? Do you need, it's an opening gag. Do you need a deep motive? It's a superhero world where they explain it's very comic booky and silly, and they establish the tone at the beginning of the show as very, over the top, not camp, but, comic book cheesy. They're blue mutant clones who show up at the White House to kill the president. You kind of get it. It's that kind of universe. They're evil.
It's a cold open. Do you go into the office and they start talking about random shit and you're like, well, you didn't explain why you were doing that. It's like, no dip, Sherlock.
Blackwing Hecate says, did he just discover that XPs exist? XPs? I don't know what that word means.
The front door of all places.
Tucker White says, and this class is what happens when you cut funding for school bullying. Blackwing Hecate says, today I learned no women are bad enough dudes to rescue the president. I got that reference.
To do it. They say that after killing the president, no one will be able to stop them.
Oh, XP is okay, I get it.
Killing the president.
It was like a phonetic spelling of XP.
To topple the U.S. military. So unless they just have a grudge, this plot point doesn't really make sense. And as it turns out, there really is no point because it's never brought up again. I only bring.
It's not. It's just a scene to introduce this universe's version of the Justice League. That's the entire purpose of that sequence, is to establish what kind of universe we're in. A universe where 2 giant blue mutants can try and attack and kill the president, and when that happens, the Justice League analog shows up with their Superman, their Batman, their Wonder Woman, their Green Lantern, their Flash, and there might have been a couple others, their Aquaman, and they fight the villains. That's all the scene is there to do. You're not supposed to have a deep understanding of the characters at this point. It's just introducing the tone of the show and what kind of universe you're in.
Tell me that you don't understand television without telling me you don't understand television.
Blackwing Hecate says, an XB, short for exported character, is a character from one series who is unambiguously and deliberately based on a character in another, older series. A few minor traits, such as age or hair color, may change, but there's no doubt that they're almost one and the same. They often turn up in different works by the same writers or production teams. Gotcha, I understand what you're saying now. Narnania Owl says, Spider-Man chases the robber and gives the woman her wallet back without explaining why the robber took it from her. Yeah, so far he's spent the first 3.5 minutes just bitching that there is, a lady superhero in the Justice League team, even though most of the Justice League team, I'm pretty sure, are men in this.
And he's very clearly shown that he doesn't understand...
Storytelling?
Yeah.
Yes.
So much attention to it because I need you guys to understand just how juvenile and amateurish the writers are. This is evasive writing to fill the gaps while the authors wait for good spots to insert the narrative that they actually want to convey in the story. The author's inherent male guilt due to feminist brainwashing was either accidentally projected onto the show, or it was added on purpose because they are that far gone. In this particular case, I'm gonna bet that this was more subconscious projection as opposed to conscious addition.
I don't even know what he's talking
War Woman
about.
is our first example of many Mary Sues to come in this show. In case you don't know what a Mary Sue is, on Wikipedia it's defined as a...
If she is a Mary Sue, then all the male members of the Justice League analog are Gary Stews. They have the same amount of development.
Okay.
You're not supposed to look at War Woman or whatever her name is and be like, yes, this is clearly a character that I will learn much about. Spoilers, she dies in the first episode, as do all of the Justice League except for the Superman analog. And secondly, you're not supposed to be like, War Woman, I care about War Woman. You go, War Woman, we get it, she's Wonder Woman. She's this universe's Wonder Woman.
It's like he has no idea of there is a world that was happening before the story you were brought into the story.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know if she's a Mary Sue. War Woman could have trained and learned and all this stuff, and then we're seeing her now as a full-blown superhero that is part of a Justice League.
It's not even like the show's subtle about these characters being the characters they are.
Yeah.
The Batman is clearly Batman. Like, the Superman is clearly Superman. It's unambiguous. It is not hidden at all. It is supposed to be, you look at this character, and this is supposed to be Wonder Woman. This is supposed to be The Flash. This is Green Lantern. This is Aquaman.
But that's not even what he's talking about. He's talking about, we see this female superhero, and she's just a Mary Sue. She can just suddenly do everything. But if she's a Mary Sue you don't even know her story. We see Invincible the first day that he gets his powers throw a fucking trash bag into space, and then he gets to fly around the first night that he has his powers.
Tube Man says, so this guy's like 17, right? Mike Mack says, by this logic, if a woman doctor tries to save him, it's bad. Stone Corbell says, in case you don't know what a Mary Sue is, it's literally any female character in a story who has the traits of a protagonist.
It's like he doesn't think that anything exists without him interacting with it. Like the person in chat said, if he was like choking and someone came up and gave him the Heimlich maneuver, he would accuse them of being a Mary Sue because, you just came into this story. You just came into my story and you already know how to do the Heimlich maneuver? Like, you're a Mary Sue. And it's like, no, kid. She has her own life outside of you.
Object permanence and theory of mind are hard, okay? Though our kitties know them.
Yeah. Lou has object permanence.
A fictional character, usually a young woman, who is portrayed as unrealistically free of weaknesses, originating in...
She gets murdered in the first episode.
She
brutally
is a literal superhero, you absolute moron.
In fan fiction, a Mary Sue is often an author's idealized self-insertion. Mary Sue stories are often written by adolescent authors.
Robert Kirkman, clearly, this
Robert
person,
Kirkman wrote War Woman as a self-insert character and had her murdered in the first episode.
Yeah, because she's so overpowered that nothing can hurt her.
By the way, I understand that the comic books, the Justice League analogs stick around, like, for longer, and they're actually more an active part of the story for a while. But, like, doesn't really matter. He's talking about the show.
Yeah, also Robert Kirkman wrote the show.
See why I said the writing was juvenile? And I didn't even look that part up until I was making the script. But when it's this thick, you can sense it without having to look anything up, just by watching the show.
So you think that Robert Kirkman, a full-grown adult, is an adolescent teen writing this? He thinks that an adolescent teen got hired to write a show.
He's saying he thinks Robert Kirkman has the acumen of a 13-year-old girl.
Every woman in this show is attempted to be displayed as this perfect girl with no flaws that everyone in the show idolizes.
No. Monster Girl has a myriad of issues.
Also, there's the girl, Adam Eve, whose father, is...
disapproving, and she has to deal with that. Invincible's love interest has stuff going on. Invincible's mom has looked aside at, Nolan, I want to say is his name's shit for, like, years, and is only now starting to see the abuse and, like, the weird behavior. Blackwing Hecate says, Baha, I hate to contradict you, but cats do not, in fact, understand object permanence or theory of mind.
Cats do have object permanence. There have been studies that show that.
Maps and Mimic says, but she's a throwaway character? How is a throwaway a Mary Sue? Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. She's a prop in the story. Like, as are the entirety of the Justice League outside of Nolan and the immortal guy whose name I'm forgetting. Shows up again in the last episode.
Even the villains.
War Woman. Please, you couldn't just sit this one out.
Oh, I don't think that Lou understands what object permanence is, but cats have been shown to have object permanence.
President, you earned a day off.
Not our style. Sorry.
Everyone gather round. Look at the strong girl boss that even the villain can't help but admire. It's so...
She's a member of the Justice League! They've fought before!
Painfully forced. A well-written story fleshes out the plot in a way that...
Dude, you are just throwing us all into your bias. You can tell there is a very blatant bias.
Yeah.
You know how I know? Because you are saying that this woman character is a Mary Sue when she is surrounded by male characters that also just out of nowhere to you know how to do all of these things.
Literally in the same scene, like seconds later. Like, it's not even like it's...
So why do you need to check your bias and figure out why you think this female character is a Mary Sue, even though she's doing the exact same thing that this male character is doing. Do you, in your head, think that there is the possibility that the male character has had training previous to this? Why do you think that the female character does not have the same training when she is literally part of the same superhero group and the same age?
Feels the characters' personalities. That's what makes a show immersive. But with Invincible, you're in a constant state of agitation, because anytime you begin to enjoy the show, it's not long before you're bombarded with more blatant feminist insertions.
Okay, so basically what I'm getting so far is he likes the show, except when women are on screen and are actual characters, and he thinks they're Mary Sues because women.
Yeah.
Okay. Tube Man says, here's a little Super Sentai cleanse after this. Oh, God. Nope! Copyright.
Finally, we are introduced to Mark Grayson, the main character, aka Invincible. But he doesn't have his superpowers yet, even though he's already 17 years old, much to the disappointment of his father. Which brings us to the main theme of the entire show, and spoiler alert, it's not about superpowers. In this show, superpowers represent masculinity. I'm gonna...
Oh, no! Oh! If you haven't seen Invincible... No, they don't.
Say that again. In this show, superpowers represent masculinity.
Okay, I'm gonna call it now. He thinks that Invincible is struggling with his superpowers because he thinks that it means that he's toxically masculine like his father, because his father has superpowers and he's a toxic person. So this kid thinks that it's talking about, oh, toxic masculinity, and that the struggle that Invincible is going through is like, well, how can I both be masculine and... But it falls apart because Invincible never says, I wish I didn't have powers.
Yeah, also, all the supporting cast mostly have superpowers, too, and they're not. I'm not saying toxic masculinity isn't a theme in the show. It definitely comes up with Nolan, but like, that's not the
powers.
No, that's just about how he is as a person. That's just about his personality. It's not the powers. Because most of the characters we see with powers are decent people, you know, at least the superheroes. The villains, even, there are shades of gray there where they're, like, not good people, but they're not evil, necessarily, depending on which villain we're talking about. So...
For the most part, kids in real life view their fathers as superheroes too, or at least those with good fathers do. This aspect of the show is a metaphor for the current real life state of relationships between this generation of sons and their fathers. Paired with the decline in masculinity is the rise in elliptic, ineffective, and effeminate men. And I'm guessing the writer...
I feel like he has some issues with his parents.
Maybe. Who knows?
...are part of this increasing demographic. An entire generation of men who just don't make the cut. They have routinely disappointed their fathers in all areas of play.
My father disappoints me, so I guess we're even.
I'm also confused. How old does he think Robert Kirkman is?
I don't know. I don't know how old he is in real life. Is he like 40 something?
Yeah.
42?
Oh,
So
his
he's-
birthday's the same birthday as mine.
Oh, nice. So he's like Gen X. Tube Man says, does he not know Invincible started in like 2004? I don't know. I find it valid to criticize the text of a show or adaptation separately from the source material, but I don't know if that's what he's doing. I'm probably putting more thought into it than he did.
Yeah, he saw a woman and went feminism.
Yeah.
And then built he built all of this around that end idea of this is feminist, and then cherry picked every single instance that might point to it being feminist.
Yeah.
Men. And Invincible is not the only show that has addressed this phenomenon either. This new generation of men is indirect, ineffective, and most notably, insecure about their heterosexuality. And we won't have to wait long to observe an example of this because...
He has a gay friend?
Because, as fate would have it, the very next scene beautifully displays this exact point. Omni-Man gets back from dealing with the evil twins and kisses his wife affectionately. It's not overdone and a very standard part of marriage. Mark, however, is violently uncomfortable.
Because it's his parents! Do you like to watch your parents make out before they're about to go fuck? What the fuck?
That's literally why he's uncomfortable, because the mom is like into the dad and like flirting with him.
Yeah!
And they're gonna go fuck.
Even though he's not even looking in their direction.
Look
The
at
knowledge
that!
alone that his parents are expressing...
Like, it's not like they just went like, oh, hey, honey. They're like, they're
Yeah.
getting it, you know?
Yeah.
They're like...
And it's not like... He doesn't have to be looking at them. He
No!
doesn't have to be in front of him. He can hear them. They're going like, like... He can hear them.
Their heterosexuality is enough to make him shrink into himself and slink upstairs.
He literally has crushes on 2 different girls in this show.
And he makes out with one of them in an episode that I can remember. I don't remember. He kisses both of them at some point,
Yeah.
but I know there's one scene where he's making out with one of them in bed. Like, what?
Now, this is actually a frequently...
Nowhere in the show is Mark's sexuality up for question. As far as we know, he's straight. I guess he could be bi, we don't know, but he absolutely has attraction to 2 women on the show. So as far as we know, Mark is straight, and his sexuality, in terms of, like, gay, straight, bi, is never a theme in the show. He has relationships in the show, but it's not about his, like, sexual whatever. It's about relationships with other people that sometimes involve kissing, sexuality stuff.
Attempt at comedy in American media. A very unsuccessful attempt, I might add, where the parents embracing is enough to make the children so insecure that they verbally object to any form of heterosexual expression.
Has he not ever seen the fucking, like, Married with Children show? Like, the kids are constantly grossed out by the parents, like, kissing.
The husband in that show is more upset because he hates his wife because it's peak boomer humor of I hate my spouse.
He's still attracted to his wife. Like, he goes bra shopping for his wife. I remember that episode.
This is not the case for homosexual expression in media. In fact, it's actually encouraged and everybody watches it. And if you don't watch it and you don't enjoy it, you're called a homophobe.
I mean, if you specifically don't like things involving gay characters because they're gay, I mean, you probably are a homophobe, yeah?
Again, this display of affection is pretty mild. He didn't catch...
It's his parents.
Catch them in bed together.
If your parents are gay or straight and you don't want to watch them make out, understandable. Doesn't have to do with whether they're two dudes, two ladies, or a dude and a lady, or NB or whatever.
Does this
because they're your
kid
parents.
enjoy watching his parents make out?
That's what I'm wondering. Is he like, yeah, Dad, give it to her? Like, what the fuck is...
Like, I'm very confused. I'm concerned that this child is fine with watching his parents make out. That genuinely concerns me for the possible parentification of this child by his parents. Like, if you are telling your child about or exposing your child to your sexual relationships, that is part of possible parentification.
Nanny Owl says, or is he Danny from The Room? He looks too young to be Danny.
Just kissing real quick, and he wasn't even looking. But he's so out of touch with his sexuality, so sexually repressed, and in denial of his own masculinity and his own masculine desires, that even that much defeats him. His parents then discuss flying to a foreign country.
I want to say something to chat.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if his face is greasy. Stop talking about his face being greasy. Number one, it might be the lighting in his room, and number two, he is clearly a teen who probably just has some hormones going on. Like, oh my fucking god, just shut up. Like, I can't stand people ragging on this kid. Just rag on him because of his shitty opinions. Maybe it's hot in his room. Sorry, I just can't stand it.
Country for some
Blackwing Hecate says this guy seems to think that feminism is when women. Also, Danny was too old to be Danny. True.
Exclusive food options, and he wants to go, but he can't because he's got school. But then his father adds this.
When your powers kick in, you can go on your own.
Salt on the wound, Dad.
This is literally in response to him asking his dad to go pick up, like, pizza from Italy or something.
They've got to be due any day now, son.
This translates to, your masculinity will kick in any day now. This is a crucial moment in which we need to tie...
Look, the show has themes of, like, coming of age, and to some extent that's always going to involve getting in touch with either your femininity, your masculinity, or whatever you got going on in terms of your gender. But that is not what the show is about. The gender stuff is not what it's about. It's about the relationship between the father and the son growing up. It is not about his sexuality. It is not about him being a manly man. It's just about him becoming an adult person with his own responsibilities and moving away from his parents' worldview into his own, which is a common coming-of-age trope, right? It's about him realizing his parents aren't necessarily the people he thought they were, sometimes for the positive in terms of, like, his mother, and for the negative in terms of his father. That's what the show is about, is those relationships and him growing to become his own person, growing to become an adult that, like, he can respect.
It's literally about as a kid, you literally idolize your parents. Yeah. You see them through rose-colored glasses. You think that they can't do any wrong because they're your parents.
You see your dad as Superman.
Yeah, as you grow up, that slowly gets removed. You start seeing the flaws in your parents. Like, even if they try and hide it for you, you can start see their cracks around the edges. Like, your parents have problems because they're real human beings, and it's you trying to, it's about him learning that and trying to reconcile that with how he viewed his dad as a child.
MH Darkbeast says, props to Baha, Married with Children was great and shockingly progressive, like the episode where Al convinces the gay guy to show his husband how much he loved him, and this was even before gay marriage was legal, by a lot, by like a couple decades.
Yeah.
Daddy Sume says, man, I was never that naive about my parents. I envy that naivete.
Real life and the projections in the show together. Very often in real life, when men have kids, even if it's on purpose and they plan on having a family and being a dad and whatnot, men get distracted by their purpose in life.
Is it normally not on purpose? Does he think that like, this is revealing so much about this kid's life. I feel so bad. He must have, like, it seems like his dad didn't want kids or some shit. Like,
I don't know. I think that's assuming a lot.
Oh,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Like, kids, I think most people they know that they want kids.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that kids are mostly had on purpose, like conceived on purpose.
No, but I think most kids in the United States are probably at least within long-term relationships with people who have discussed it and decided, okay, if we get pregnant, we get pregnant.
Yeah.
Nice dad.
Like, I'd put it this way. I was an accident. My parents were not intending to have a kid. I got through 2 separate layers of protection in order to get my existence. I guess that sperm cell really wanted to live. What an idiot. Anyway. Now I gotta pay fucking bills. No, but, like, they also were married at that point, and they were like, yeah, sure. They weren't trying to get pregnant, but they weren't trying not to get pregnant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just like, sure, whenever, if it happens, it happens.
Who's present in the home and provides financially for his kids. I don't think it would be inaccurate to say that most fathers, at least in this day and age, do not consciously teach their sons about masculinity. Or
Blackwing projection. Blackwing Hecate says, wait, were your parents using 2 condoms? No, they were using a condom and a sponge. Sponges were a form of birth control that were a thing in the 90s. And I believe they were found to be kind of ineffective, which is why they stopped selling them or using them as often.
Okay. Parents, like, the reason that you don't have to consciously teach your kids about things is because children learn by watching. Like, they learn by you watching, and that's because we evolved to do that. Like, kids absorb things, they act like you, they see you and they mimic you. It's not about saying, son, you're masculine. It's not about that. It is, you lead by example. It's like he doesn't understand anything about brains.
By the way, if anyone's wondering how I know what protection my parents were using the night I was conceived, it's because my mother had absolutely no boundaries and is a really fucked up person who overshared. Meek says, from the way you describe your dad, it sounds like he probably didn't use his condom correctly anyway, but told everyone else otherwise. It's possible. I have no idea. Simple Cat Girl says, oh, you want to talk about being accidentally? My mom's tubes were tied and got pregnant with me with already 4 kids. P.S. My mom is the best person in my life, and I love her so much. Daddy Sume says, do I remind you of your mother, Hannah? I suddenly feel very awful. No, because I'm not related to you. I don't care. That might be one of the reasons that I have so much issues, like, around discussing sex. Because it viscerally freaks me out because I associate it a lot with, like, her being way too open about that shit.
Yeah.
But I don't care if other people talk about sex.
Or being in touch with their power as a man. And it's been this way for decades now. For nearly a century, generations of men in America have found themselves at a loss as to how to define themselves as a man, or where they stand in the world, which leaves them wide open and vulnerable to brainwashing. And that's not even counting the fatherless men either. Boys growing up in this era have been taught close to nothing about masculinity, or how to relate to their own and channel it in productive ways. Because if they...
Does he think that masculinity used to be taught in school?
I think he just thinks that, like, men teaching their young boys, like, you don't get to cry, you need to go and do stuff or you're worthless. And he thinks that those are good things to teach your kids, and if you don't, you're failing as a father, would be my guess.
They would not be easy to control. They would be mentally strong and grounded within their own authority as men. The people in control don't want men in control of...
This kid probably watches John Doyle.
Oh, for sure. For sure. His channel's name is Nuance now, by the way.
Themselves, because when men are weak, so is the rest of society, including women and children. Men are like the eggshell around the...
Oh, he did a whole video called Venom is Woke,
if the
too.
Is soft, any outside force can easily penetrate the egg.
It's like a 40-minute video about how woke he thinks Venom is.
Also extremely important because there's not only a lot of feminist narrative, but a noticeable amount of racial narrative as well. Mark is walking out of the house and tries jumping up and down to activate his flying abilities, and the ultra cool black mailman walks by and glares at him for seemingly no reason. Have you ever met a mean mailman? What reason would this black mailman have for giving Mark a dirt?
What?
He's just just looking at him.
The joke is just Guy sees him doing a weird thing. His race has nothing to do with it. Mark isn't even, like, Mark is half Asian. It's not even like he's a full-on white guy. Blackwing Hecate says nuance is kind of cheese, right?
Dirty look just for acting silly. I'll tell you why. Anytime there is no relevant reason for the rudeness, you can bet it's a projection by the authors. Liberals, and more specifically the liberals who write this show, don't actually see non-white people as equals. They see non-white people as pitiful, subhuman creatures. Almost human,
no!
Not quite as smart and not quite as capable as whites.
What the fuck?
And because they feel guilty about this prejudice towards other races, they project it onto anybody who doesn't see non-white people this way in order to distance themselves from the fear that someone might find out about their prejudice.
Whoa! Whoa, so kid sees black mailman in TV show with a blank expression on his face, who's probably just done with his job.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not getting paid enough for this. And he thinks all these things and is like, they're projecting this onto me. They're making me think these things.
I think you're looking at it too sincerely. He doesn't actually believe anything he just said. It's a rhetorical tool to get that idea out there to try and make it something people think. He doesn't believe that, but it is a narrative he is promoting.
And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he believes that the left is actually, showing this stuff. I think that what he's saying is he saw this. He thought those things in his head because of racism, and is now the left is making me think those things.
I mean, he's definitely projecting. I assume he's a John Doyle fan type person, but the reason he is saying it is pointed. You can tell by the expression on his face. He thinks he's said something very clever.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not pointed. I'm saying that he thought those things and then he's warping it into this thing.
Sure. Slow Dog with 100 bits says, this is an entire cineplex of projection. Daddy Sume with a link.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean,
that really got out of hand. Tube Man says, Mark is even half white. He's half Asian, half alien. True.
Schools and workplaces, as well as virtue signal in other areas. More relevantly, though, that's the reason why non-white people in this show are never really given a hard time for any significant reason. Anytime whites are shown in the same scene with non-white races, they are routinely portrayed as goofy, annoying, and dim-witted, in an unspoken comparison to the ultra-cool, intelligent, and charming non-white people. If there was a Mary Sue for races, the non-white people in this show would be the Mary Sue. No joke is ever made at their expense, and there is never a scene in this show solely meant to display the personal flaws of a non-white person.
I'm trying to think of non-white characters in the show. The villain that becomes the crime boss with the help of Mark. Mark's girlfriend.
Mark?
Yeah, I was thinking more like black as opposed to Asian, but yeah. Blackwing Hecate says he emanates a lot of I'm 17 and this is deep energy. Simple Cat Girl says, can we please do the OnlyFans one? Also, this just feels like a guy who figured out the concept of thinking critically of media but doesn't understand it actually how it works or has any idea how writing works. Yeah. Isn't there a robot? There is a robot, sort of.
Person. Or a woman. Like there are scenes...
Okay. I think I'm done with this guy. We're only halfway through, and I do not want to be doing this for another hour. We'll visit this guy's bullshit again another day, I'm sure. Meek says, is Rex white? I got a Hispanic vibe from him. I honestly don't know. I don't even know what his full name is. Who shall we raid? Who will we raid? What is the raid? Who will we raid?
Wellness for those at risk, and our CP deterrence campaign aimed at people actively searching for unlawful images. CP is the internet's colloquialism.
Alright, have a good night, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow for Tinfoil Tuesday. I will see you... Oh, God, I gotta log in with Twitch. Give me a sec. Get my number so I can sign in.
Good night, everyone.
Alright. See you guys tomorrow for Tinfoil Tuesday. We'll do some conspiracy stuff. We'll do Peter. We'll do whatever else. We'll cover Call getting another channel deleted. All sorts of fun stuff. So I'll see you guys then.
This was fun. Bye.